noisy from the camera.
What? I'm so good!
He's now all silent in a 1v4. He takes 2. Down goes both. Can he stay alive? He downs another 1v1 on the Kento and he wins it!
Clutch this round out for IF. He gets 2. That's the defeat. That's huge. Mikey, no social
Oh my-
to drop. Where Subarctic is sprinting around desperately, and we're going to overtime.
Oh my God! Ashen! It's high noon. There's the 1v2 and 5-1/2 for Surf.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final first round game. Jonah, we are, the final second round game. We have our losers game between Shift and West Garfield, and well, on the one hand, we have a team of very experienced players, most of them pros. On the other hand, we have a team who faces relegation in Challenger League.
On paper as well, I mean, it doesn't look so great for Shift, right? This West team who has, emerged through the qualifiers, they've looked pretty impressive on certain occasions, but last week falling to Karn & Co. That's why they're here in this elimination game. Shift, they had an even worse performance, that one against Aerial Academy, and that is why they're here in this elimination game. Of course, as you can see by our wonderful bracket in front of you of Group D, our final group to finish off, it will be the decider between Aerial Academy and whoever can emerge from series victorious. Like I said, it is Shift who I think have a little bit more to prove here today, Harrison.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it more in the critical points, but last week they had a sub. They had Flux, who had never played comp before, instead of Exo, who is their IGL. But setting them aside, if we want to take a look at West Garfield first, I think their loss last week to Karn & Co. was a little bit surprising for a lot of people. Not me, though, because, of course, I predicted Karn & Co. because I had a 100% prediction rate until the teams trolled me. So that's not my fault. It consists of Psychosis, Biologic, Rudy, Twist, and Forrest. Of course, 3 out of 5 of these players having Pro League experience, Psychosis being one of the best players we've seen in Challenger League, and Twist was finally getting his chance to play with the big boys. The key here for them is to leverage as much of that experience as they can. Once again, take advantage of maybe a slightly weakened Shift, not playing with Exo last week. He might have to get a little reacclimated to the roster. I mean, we'll talk about it later in the map bans, but if those bans go towards the more structured kind of play style, that might favor West Garfield as well. And as long as they, as long as they play the game that they know how to play, that they've played at that professional level, they can really take advantage of Shift. Combining that experience with the Pug Stack energy should be enough to take the win.
Yeah, you'd think. Let's take a look at Shift, though, see what they have to work on. Of course, as you highlighted, this roster is facing relegation in Challenger League, made up of J-Slime, Lava, Wi-Fi, Exo, and Indy. Last week, of course, Exo, the IGL, was not on the team. Flux stepped in, and that is, in part, why they had such an abysmal performance. I think getting only 4 rounds over the course of 2 maps. They have to step it up in a big way, and that is abundantly clear. If you just look at, the way West Garfield performed against Karn & Co. Karn & Co. just delivered a beatdown on that second map to Aerial Academy. I mean, you kind of look at those two things, and one would think that West Garfield are coming in with sanity. But you have to remember, the Shift we saw last week is not the Shift we are going to see today. Hopefully. They've got Exo back in the mix, so at the very least, the dynamic on this team is going to be different. Is the result going to be different? We don't know quite yet, but we definitely know that this team at least should be more composed and should be able to put more rounds down on the board.
And we want to look at our top 2 players in the lobby right now. It's going to be between J-Slime and Forrest. Fofo has had a hell of a run so far. I mean, he was always, one of those top-rated players, even all the way back on Ape, on Wichita Wolves. Forrest has been up there, and he's continuing that performance here in SCS with a 1.25 rating. And J-Slime, despite the rest of his roster having some mighty struggles, he was a pretty consistent player, and I'm glad to see it because so far, in most of the games I've seen J-Slime in, people talk about J-Slime a lot like he's the next coming of Jesus, but I was not impressed. But last week, while his team didn't win and they were, again, certainly struggling, he was having a pretty decent game. He and Wi-Fi are the two players that impressed me the most. So I am happy to see J-Slime finally stepping up.
Yeah, Forrest, of course, as you highlighted, has a ton of experience and has been looking good. Hopefully, he'll be able to continue that performance here today. We can take a look at our map bans, though, and kind of see where we're going to end up with this little series. Off the bat, it looked encouraging with an Oregon and Clubhouse ban, but then Shift going with the Cafe pick, followed by West Garfield whipping out the Villa, which is maybe not necessarily surprising, but a little bit disappointing. We would love to see that bank, that chalet, even that coastline in one of those main two maps, but at the very least we will see coastline as our decider if these teams are inclined to take us the distance.
I don't know if I'd be too happy to see bank personally, but yeah, Cafe and Villa being our first two maps, normally I would say, hey, West Garfield are a pug stack, Shift are a more structured, well, supposedly more structured, team with a proper IGL and, they scrim and stuff like that. But West Garfield, I mean, with the experience they have, I don't doubt that they can work something here on these maps and still play that structured game despite being a pug stack. I mean, you have people like Forrest, Rudy, Biologic at the helm, and I mean, Psychosis and Twist have been around for a while too. I mean, they're probably going to be the most aggressive members that we see on the squad, but I mean, you expect that of the up-and-coming, T3, T2 players and such. Cafe is an interesting pick as well, considering Shift got it kind of handed to him last week. Let me see what the score was. They played it, of course, against Aerial Academy, and they lost it 7-3, and are now opting to go back there. So hopefully we see some massive improvement from them.
We can take a look at our predictions as well, and Harrison, it saddens me to say, oh, how the mighty have fallen, my friend. You are now down with us peasants at the bottom. I mean, not at the bottom, technically 67% isn't
We're
bad.
all tied for second.
Tied for post. Cookies looking good. CJ putting up some numbers, 80% for him. But the majority of us going with West Garfield. Harrison, I know, there's a minor conflict of interest, right? Your girlfriend, a part of this Shift organization.
Yeah.
But other than that, is there a reason you went with them today?
Well, aside from the fact that she may have threatened me with physical violence, ignoring that part, I don't know. I think with Exo back, Shift are going to look better. I mean, Exo has proven himself as a player in the past at the T2 level, no less, back with PDHM when they were a top team. And I don't know. I just have a feeling that with Exo back, I know Exo and Lava have been, friends and players together for a while. Wi-Fi and J-Slime really impressed me last week. And I think with a proper leader at the helm, they're only going to do better. Now, of course, I could be completely off the mark and Shift might suck more than they did last week, but here's hoping they don't.
I'm trying to think if we saw West Garfield on Cafe.
They played
last week?
No, against Karn & Co. They played Club and Oregon, which were our first two bans.
Okay, well, I mean, you look at Karn, you look at a team like Karn & Co. and Club and Oregon, they are structured maps. Right. Yeah. And so, I mean, you have talked about how West Garfield should theoretically thrive in that structured environment, but they didn't last week, right? I mean, yes, Karn & Co. is clearly a formidable team, as they proved, just in the previous series tonight, but maybe that is the formula for their success. I mean, we're going to Cafe, a semi-structured map, right? It does still rely on a lot of structure, but can devolve into, an utter frag fest, depending on how the teams want to play it. And I think that's kind of what Shift have. I think their biggest advantage here is that they, technically, I imagine they're a bit more composed as a team, and they've had more hours together than West Garfield have had, right?
Yeah.
And if they can leverage that and exploit that the best they can, whether that is trying new things or going with one strategy and, diving deeper into their strat book and pulling something else out, if they can find a way to throw West Garfield off balance, I think that is where we could see them find success. This is Shift's map pick, right? They wanted to go to Cafe for a reason, and I don't think they would take, this very experienced team to a structured map like this unless they were very prepared for it.
Yeah, and again, they didn't look good against Aerial Arise Academy, and I mean, we've already made this point, but just to reiterate, they had Flux, who has never played comp before. ever. Not only did you lose your main IGL and your main leader in the team, you're also subbing in someone who has only ever played ranked. And Flux, he had a couple highlight rounds, but he didn't do so hot. So I think, you know, I kind of echo that sentiment. If Shift can play together as a team as they're supposed to, perhaps they can pull the wool over West Garfield's eyes, but we're just getting ours in the lobby right now so we can head into Cafe. Cafe in particular, I know, was a real big struggle for Shift. They really struggled to handle the aggression from Aerial Rise Academy, which is going to be a concern for West Garfield. You know, while losing the more structured maps of Clubhouse and Oregon, they're still a pretty aggressive team. And if they keep, you know, the pedal to the metal and keep accelerating in on Shift, Shift might struggle to deal with it.
Yeah, we'll see. At least we can dive right into the operator band so we can have a bit of a clearer picture into what kind of cafe we've got in front of us. We've seen a pretty typical, you know, hodgepodge of bands here recently. It's the Flores, it's that Thatcher, it's the Mira, and it's the Valkyrie, right? That is your stock standard bands. Sometimes the Wamai will, you know, come in the mix here, leaving up the Mira, leaving up the Valkyrie, depending on, you know, which team bands first, bands second. But I do expect to see the stock standard bands, and it does seem that we are well on track for that. We've got the Flores off the board early, no Rotero drones, no EMPs from Thatcher. But this is where you see instead of the Mira or the Valkyrie. Wamai, as he is taken off the board here, is incredibly powerful on this map. You know, just think of that top floor, all the positions like Pixel that are so important to hold for defensive teams, and that Wamai can bolster even further.
And now they have to make the choice, Mira or Valkyrie. It'll be Valkyrie, so Mira's left up on probably what is her best map, I would argue, in Cafe. I mean, we've seen West Garfield employ her in the standalone tournament. I imagine Shift have Mira strats as well. I've seen those players, you know, not necessarily on this team, but I've seen those players play Mira in the past. So interesting bands we've got going on. Honestly, I'm not opposed seeing Cafe with Mira. I think there's a lot of very interesting strategies you can employ with her. And as we go to bar for our first site, West Garfield will be employing her immediately. No, never mind. Rudy is just going to bait it out, instead swapping to Aruni. So instead of having the Mira, we're going to lean a little bit more into that utility with the Jaeger and the Aruni combo. Castle to boot. Goyo Shield's going to be there. No smoke, which is a little odd. No Maestro either. All they have in terms of plant denial are just the 2 C4s.
Yeah, going with the castle instead of the castle and the mute, right? Instead of bringing someone like that smoke, like that Mira into play is always a bit of a surprise. But with the Goyo, it does mean that they're trying to play these deployable shields, and the Mira isn't going to help with a deployable shield position, right? The Aruni gates, those Surya gates, can deal dials much in the way that Wamai can. Of course, not as strong as Wamai in that sense, but I suppose West Garfield thinking, you know what, we don't have those, you know, Wamai magnets, let's go for the laser gates instead. And that's what Rudy is going to be doing here. We just saw him set one up on that piano to cigar door. That's a typical position. We see that deployable shield in cigar itself. Either that shield is going to be staffed, or we may see someone with a shotgun, that might be the bio mute, sitting in that cigar box, that humidor, you know, facing red stairs, trying to contest the attackers as they drop the red hatch. He will begin to at least set up a mute jammer in there, and with the castle barricade and those laser gates to support that position, it does seem that bio is going to make Cigar Shop his holding little territory for now.
Yeah, but the Wamai ban from Shift is going to alleviate some of that clear that Shift would have to face here, because normally you see both ADSs, or the Aruni gates, even Wamai discs stacked up on that castle barricade, but without the Wamai, it might not be as big of a deal. The castle barricade is protecting on stage, but it'll go down in short order to actually the Hibana pellets, curiously enough, and luckily for this attack, Hibana can be used to burn that Aruni gate as well, but in come the flashes. It'll take away the ADS as well as the Aruni gate, and there we go. Popped open. Bio will escape, but Psychosis doesn't. I don't even really know where the Goyo was playing, but either way, Cigar is cleared and Shift find the opening pick.
Yeah, Bio has escaped alive, though, and obviously the same cannot be said for Psychosis, who possibly died down below. I mean, a Goyo with the C4 is something like you might see, you know, positioned downstairs in train or mining, trying to, you know, send that C4 right when the attackers eventually drop into the building, because now that we are approaching that 90-second mark, that is exactly what Shift will do. Without Bio to deal with in Cigar anymore, they can push in, and now they can set their sight on Twist, the castle. sitting behind in pixel position. He's got this Goyo shield, and he has a couple of ADSs, but that is about it. No MI magnets means that holding this position for very long will get quite dangerous very fast. Forest, however, will strike for at least balancing out the man count here, taking J-Slime and shutting down the Finka.
Now, the utility clear is still fairly efficient from Shifts. They'll deal with that Pixel Shield and force Twist back, but there's still a lot for them to deal with. There is under 1 minute left, and they haven't even pushed into Piano. No, actually, the shield is still up. I thought the nades would have landed, but the long angle from Twist still being played lights up Indy before he's shut down by Lava. Man advantage once again in the hands of Shift. Everyone from West Garfield on the site, so there's no downstairs C-floor in play for Biologic. He had rotated back up the white stairs and is now playing kind of mid-freezer, a lot farther forward than I would have expected, but it makes sense with that SMG-11 and shotgun combo. Hopefully the lack of a C4 from below doesn't hurt the defense later in the round if Shift are in position for a plant. Now you have Wi-Fi on the Heaven Repel, and he's just going to go send it right on in. There's no one directly challenging him, and as he swings, he gets cut down. Forrest lands the kill. Shotgun close, does not find it, but Forrest lands yet another. 2 versus 2. Exo is cut down. It's all down to Lava, but he can't find the shots onto Rudy. He's got to pull the pistol out, but there is simply no time for him to play with, and despite a good start, Shift will be unable to execute and drop the first round.
Yeah, the execute there, it was, frankly, a little bit confusing, right? Because we saw a lot of pressure being applied. I mean, we saw that somebody swinging in Heaven window before any other pressure had really been applied to the site. Normally, I would think that play comes in when somebody from the attack has taken control of bathroom and has that freezer rotate available. At that point, they can provide that cutoff over towards Cocktail. You allow that person to swing into that Heaven window, and you've got Cocktail control. You are cutting down the defenders who have all backed off to that point. But where had Shift actually gotten to when we saw Wi-Fi make the move? It seemed like they had clear pixel, but they were still pushing their way up to freezer. They hadn't actually swung out on new Balk yet, unless I'm mistaken, and maybe the timing there was a little bit off. Regardless, it was a good hold of the site by West Garfield. Forrest, who he got 3 kills, but it looks like one of those kills must have been a downed player, because he's only been credited with 2 of those kills, and Rudy with 2 of them as well. Holding down Cocktail, as well as, you know, taking down the player I know who was running right up. I mean, it was Wi-Fi who swung in, and then there was somebody who got quite aggressive in freezer, and I believe it was Bio who needed support from Rudy from Forest, and they made sure to provide it. So good start on the top floor for West Garfield.
I think the kill that Forrest secured it down was actually Wi-Fi swinging in, because I remember when Wi-Fi swung in, he was getting lit up, I think, by the Aruni DMR first. So I could be wrong, but judging off of sound, I think that's what happened. But I mean, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Shift are now going to have to attack the offsite. Unequivocally, the offsite here on this map. It's mining and dining. Typically, you only see teams who have a really solid grip on the strategy go to this site. But hey, West Garfield, I mean, again, you know, we've hammered the experience point home enough. Perhaps that's why this is being brought out. Bio, Rudy, and Forrest, I'm sure they've got something in the strat book from one of their previous teams. And we'll see if Shift have the wherewithal and, you know, a deep enough strat book themselves to know how to attack it.
Well, they are going to approach from the top floor, right? I mean, this is the standard approach for either of these middle floor bomb sites, whether it's reading or mining. You do need some semblance of top floor control, and that's going to be Shift's job here, but Forrest will already make that job a good bit more difficult. Lava is done with, and that is your sledge. Lava had his back focused on, had his, you know, gun focused on Rudy, his back facing Forrest, and I don't know if he knew that Forrest was playing so aggressively, and that is your breaching hammer. The majority of your soft destruction no longer in play. It's going to have to be a pretty big maneuver here if Shift want to make this comeback happen. They will take down Rudy, and so that is one of these players on the top floor a bit more exposed. J-Slime will also take down Forrest, so even though they've lost the sledge, they've gotten the frags they need to essentially force West Garfield to start to back off this top floor. Twist is the last player kind of still in range to contest these shift attackers as they work their way through, but he will, get droned out, and so he'll slowly back off. A smart decision there, knowing they're in a disadvantage in this 3v4. Now it's West Garfield who have to play safe regardless of if there's a breaching hammer above or not.
Yeah, Twist forced back after his two teammates have fallen, so Shift have done a good job of finding those trades. The way they're setting up, though, appears as if they want to attack onto reading. Someone is already in. That's going to be Exo, the first player in the second floor, I guess it is. Looking to take further control. He'll be aided by the Finka boost, but he finds no one just yet. Indy, the next to drop into Pillar, and they'll likely try for a duo play into Mining. I have to imagine that's the strategy here, as Exo now actually walks down Brown. Interestingly enough, maybe coming up for a white flank, and there it is. Exo catches the player downstairs, so I was confused by it at first, but it ends up finding a pick and furthering this advantage for Shift, now by 2 men, and in they come through the red hallway. There is a player behind the bomb chassis. That's going to be Twist. He's got Bio to his left. Wi-Fi is cut down, and there's such little time remaining. 10 seconds. J-Slime with one trade. J-Slime with another. 3 kills on the round for the Finka. It looked hairy at the end there with such little time remaining, but the Finka steps up in a huge way.
Not exactly sure what happened to West Garfield on that top floor and, why they exposed themselves, to several of those angles. Forrest, I guess, was still looking to fight a couple of long angles and, track down those shift attackers who were pushing into the building, but J-Slime punished him for it, much like he punished those 2 final defenders on the site below. And, when a top floor hold like that starts to crumble for the defense, it puts you in such a tough spot because you have to make the decision, and a tough one at that. Do you give up the top floor control, relatively early into the round, or, just around that mid-round phase, giving Shift the ability to do kind of whatever they want on that top floor and approach the site from whichever way they want? Or do you force that hold of the top floor and risk your lives? Of course, West Garfield made the safe play, but they just couldn't stem the control that Shift had been able to maintain. You highlighted the play from Exo, right? And that's all a part of the control that Shift were able to secure, not only applying pressure, towards Mining from those red stairs, from the white stairs, sneaking down into Pillar, even going into reading, and then going out of reading, down the brown stairs, up the white stairs from behind, right? They had so many options because they had so much map control. So props to Shift for making that happen, even without lava, even if it looked kind of messy right off the bat.
Yeah, that was a really good mid-round adjustment from them, not really needing that vertical play. And I got to kind of question the play from West Garfield as well. Curious as to why they did not stack, more in reading, because there was no vertical potential there from Shift. Maybe they didn't know they killed the sledge, which is perfectly understandable, but either way, that could have maybe changed the course in the round, because there would have been really nothing from the attack to flush them out as easily. So we're going on to the second middle floor site. It's reading, much more standard. Lava is going to be a lot more important here as well, so hopefully the attack doesn't lose him too early. And Rudy's playing very far forward. He and Twist holding down Piano as the Vigil and the Mozzie. Whole heck of a lot of drone denial between the two, but Rudy will reveal himself. Now they know he's here. Impacts go out, but it's not going to land a single bit of damage on the player on the window. And he's being marked. So much for Vigil. And they'll likely have info that the player's now dropped, so I mean, he's wasted about a minute in Piano. It's not too bad, and he does leave Twist still up there holding the Pixel Shield.
Yeah, Twist is actually going to maintain this position, but because he spots that, it spots him, he's got to be careful about how he plays the next engagement, because Wi-Fi is now going to push up, so Twist will therefore fall back. He'll be joined by 2 players, by the way. He's got Psychosis on the white stairs, and Rudy still playing in Cocktail. Rather than playing behind shields and playing this quite passively, they are playing this hold aggressively, and right now it's working. Twist will find the first. Both J-Slime and Lava will really want that kill back. You can see them really trying to funnel all this pressure, and now several frag grenades down the white hall, and West Garfield say, you know what, now's our perfect time to back off. Forrest is still upstairs playing very aggressively as the Maestro. It'll catch Indy off guard, but it won't quite be able to finish off the Nomad for good, and a Finka boost will get Indy back into fighting shape. Still, you can see that West Garfield want to contest this top floor, but now that Shift have the majority of that control, they're going to have to do it at least from this second floor. Forrest trying to make a sneaky play here, maybe working his way up the white stairs. Here's the melee of the Barb, and there's the headshot. Well played from him. There goes Exo off the board.
Yeah, hitting the alt walk, I guess not heard. Despite being the 3 armor, Indy will get boosted back some HP and put down an air jab to ensure that doesn't happen again. But Shift now trail by 2 bodies. Now, luckily, they have the sledge still alive, and one gets spotted through the wall. Indy will get the drop on Psychosis, who maybe a little mispositioning there. Twist is also still lit up, so Shift have a good opportunity to even the man count if he exposes himself. But as Lava kills Rudy on the brown flank, this round has now become doable. Shift in a 3-on-3. Just have to push into the site. Lava gets, what? The drop on 2 more? Who just completely ignore that side of the map, and Bio's stuck behind the cupboard. Shift, they recover round 3 as we see 3 different players with their backs completely turned to exposed angles.
Looked like those last 3 defenders were just kind of asleep. I mean, I don't think they shot back. I don't think there was any real comms clearly made between them. It seemed that even when Lava was able to, just walk down the red hall and get a kill, I think the next person was Forrest, who had no idea that he was there, not whipping around in time to, save his teammate's life. Most likely focused on the white stairs, worried that somebody was pushing down from them as well. But my, oh my, that was an impressive event from previous round where they lost Lava and then made it happen. That was fine. This was 2 opening kills for West Garfield, all on that top floor hold, and it was a 5v3. A shock that West Garfield, let that advantage slip away so quickly. That Shift one here. I guess I really should be rethinking the way I've formulated this matchup in my head, because Shift right now seem to be the team that's a little bit more composed. They've now made 2, mid-round adjustments and mid-round comebacks, and West Garfield have done nothing of the sort.
I was surprised by the amount of just pure mispositioning there in the last round. I mean, it started with I think that was Psychosis hugging the bomb chassis with his leg exposed to the rotate, and then I guess that was a good time flank from Lava. I don't know why there were 2 different people from West Garfield staring at white, but it worked out. We are going to go back to Bar, though. This is the one site that West Garfield have been successful on thus far. They're bringing the same exact lineup that they had their initial attempt. Everything looks around the same. Yeah, Pixel Shield. I mean, Cigar Hold once again. It doesn't look like there's any more utility than there was in the previous attempt, so I imagine Shift will probably clear this in very short order. J-Slime and Forrest trade blows early in the round. Rudy is downstairs as well. Red Hatch has been popped, and next will come the utility burn as we see players start to repel on the south side of the building.
Yeah, well, the trading blows will go a lot better for J-Slime than it will for, because of course J-Slime can himself and his entire team up, and Forrest will be stuck on whatever HP he left that gunfight with for the remainder of the round. So definitely West Garfield, I mean, you saw it in the last round, you see it here, they're trying to play aggressive. Maybe they've found something that works for them, but no matter what early round aggression you employ, you've got to be able to close it out in the mid-round. I mean, talk of that aggression. Here is Twist just popping up from behind the couch. J-Slime had no idea the castle was still in position. In fact, out of position. No one would expect somebody prone in that corner vulnerable to, all sorts of grenades. And he'll escape. He'll reposition to Pixel safely. And West Garfield will be happy to maintain, this 5v4 advantage they've just secured.
Yeah, J-Slime, after getting smoked on the window, his killer retreats to the cover of a shield. Forrest still wanting to peek into Cigar, almost finding Lava from the same angle he did just a few rounds prior. I remember one of the problems with the Shift attack on Bar was that they didn't really clear that Pixel shield, and Twist playing in the, still able to play aggressive in the hallway, wasn't able to land much, but it was damage on Indy. Now this time, the utility clear goes much more to plan. Pixel is burned, and Twist is all the way back towards pallets, not nearly as far forward as he once was, but unfortunately for Shift, there is no hole in bathroom. There's no bathroom rotate, so they cannot establish a crossfire into Cocktail with the control that they've gained. That's going to remain locked off. Luckily for them, Trash Wall is soft, though. As Lava begins to hammer it away, that'll expose a potential plant position here for Shift.
Forrest was incredibly impactful on the last top floor hold. He wants to do that again, but right now it's going to be Psychosis. A really good toss with that C4 will net him a kill, but Indy and Wi-Fi, they've got something to say about that. Finding 2 kills right back. Bio with a nice shotgun kill from him. Forrest fouls it up onto Indy, and that is going to leave Exo alive with the case in the middle of the site here, looking towards Freezer, looking towards Cocktail, in the middle of a crossfire at that point, as it happens when you walk into the middle of the bomb site without any support from your teammates. Of course, they had all died at that point. So West Garfield, they've now taken 2 defensive rounds, both of them on Bar and Cocktail, and it surprised me. They to even reading. I would love to see them try Kitchen and try, maybe an extended roam. We see how well the aggression is working for them, but regardless, they'll take a round 4 victory and look forward to the last 2 defensive rounds they can make happen.
I really have to question the attack from Shift there. For the second time, it seemed like the Hibana was simply not working with her utility. I don't know if it was the fault of the mute, of Biologic, preventing any breach from those X-Kairos, but you saw, there were kills from the defense coming from Freezer, coming from Cocktail, and I can't help but think if they had just Hibana open that cross in bathroom, or Hibana open a long angle into Freezer, perhaps those plays could have been stopped. Even that Goyo, who got the C4 kill into Cigar on Lava, would have been prevented by a line of sight in Freezer opened by said Hibana. And if there are mute jammers, West Garfield have not been playing below on any of their bar defenses. Why not just go below and clear it? A mute jammer on that wall is not hard at all to get rid of. So, I guess using hard breach effectively might be another note that Shift have to take away from this game, but we're going back on a reading. Shift did win this round, but it was down to a big play from Lava, and more so a lack of... What's the word? I can't think of the word.
Dang.
Jonah, help. I'm struggling.
What's the word? Give me a hint.
Like...
give me a hint.
Being aware of your surroundings.
Oh, right.
A lack of...
I don't know.
I don't know. I guess I'll just say it was more so down to West Garfield
done, right?
not being aware of their surroundings. There we go.
There you go. That'll work. Shift now. Already in the building here, 40 seconds in. Not too bad. And they know roughly what they're going to be dealing with on this top floor because they have seen it before. This is a reading defense, not a mining defense, but a second floor hold nonetheless for West Garfield. They know how successful this top floor presence can be. They got 2 kills on this last time they were on the site, but of course, losing that advantage in the mid-round. Clearly, they'd like to change that up. They still have a lot of pressure, though, on this top floor. You can see several defenders roaming around up there. Forrest is one of them, and finally you can see hit the smoke instead of that Jaeger. That role has now been passed over to Twist instead. Hostess on the will be hoping to make some impact as well. No Vigil Mozzie combo like we saw last time. No Maestro either. We're seeing a pretty sizable change in terms of just operator selection for West Garfield, but right now positioning is pretty much the same. Despite that, Shift have not made much of a move. The furthest point that they've now advanced to is Bathroom. They've sledged open a hole and pushed up into White Hall, are getting smoked off by Forrest, so he knows what's coming, and he knows that, well, maybe he should start to back off. We're starting to see a bit of that shift from West Garfield, but Psychosis is still trying to provide support from the White Stairs, both dealing with these top floor players and dealing with a potential Shift execute from this back site. They're working a lot of pressure in train right now.
Yeah, this top floor hold has done wonders in delaying the attack for, a minute, 2 minutes, 15. Thus far, finally, we have an avenue into the site that Exo's opened, but I don't know if Shift have enough control to actually go for this play. Lava just pushes up White and slams Psychosis, though. That's a good opening pick as any, but Rudy refrags Indy. Lava's the next to die as Twist pushes out Cocktail, and everyone from Shift is hitting the floor. Not a single refrag found after the Malusi falls, leaves Exo in a 1 versus 4. With only 15 seconds to play with, he'll land a beautiful shot onto Rudy, but That's not going to be enough to win the round, unfortunately. The Jaeger's holding passive. He's holding across, playing off not only the Belusi Banshee, but his teammates contact, and Forrest will simply end the round. Shift way too long on the top floor, and not nearly enough control established to go for a dining play.
Well, whatever pressure they were applying, right, it was hard to tell initially if they wanted to clear out the top floor and then change their mind in that mid round, or any pressure they were applying, down the White Hall and towards Cocktail. It was all just a facade so that they could, try to sneak in as many players towards that mining and train side of the map unnoticed and get that wall open and get that pressure going before West Garfield became fully aware. That was not the case. Whenever they were planning West Garfield, they knew it the entire time. And while they initially put a lot of stock into that top floor hold, we saw Psychosis and Forrest both back off, realizing that, wait a minute, there may be some pressure coming from train and pushing towards this fireplace hall. That's why Psychosis started, pre-firing that fireplace rotate and then the breach that, of course, Shift were able to open up. And that's why, Forrest backed off with those toxic smokes to the site, knowing that at any time he may need one of those by the plant in dining when Shift missed. But disjointed is a word we used to describe Shift last week, and we talked about that in our critical point. And they haven't looked disjointed until round 5, right? Most of their attacks have been pretty cohesive. That one had a little bit of everything. Somebody over here, there was somebody over there, and once again, the execute was just coordinated as we've seen in the past.
Yeah, hopefully they're not falling back into old habits. We'll now see Kitchen for the first time this half. Strange to say that the only time we'll see this bomb site is the last round of West Garfield's defense. And they're actually employing a bakery hold. Not a strategy we often see. Typically, the only time we see someone extended into bakery is when an echo is in play, but Forrest is probably a good enough player as any to hold this down. We know how aggressive he can be. We know how nasty his shots can be. And he's got a C4 in pocket. I don't know how much utility he exactly has dedicated to his position. I imagine all those ADSs, are probably stuck to the back of the wall. I see one more placed right next to him. Rudy gets the first one on the lava, but there is an instant refrag. So the sledge doesn't go unanswered, but they do lose, the most powerful vertical play operator probably in the... I guess there's an argument to be made with Buck, but the most powerful vertical operator Shift have at their disposal. It looks, for the most part, like they're going for a direct anyway, so it might not be the biggest deal in the world, but even if they're not going for vert, losing the nades will certainly hurt. But J-Slime looking to amend that, taking out Rudy and swing the man advantage in his team's favor.
We can see now that this bakery pressure is definitely the intent of Shift. They don't have really any other options at this point. I mean, now that there's only 90 seconds left, they have pretty much committed to this play. You know that Bio has realized that as well, trying to smoke off this potential entry point, but these smokes are going to be even more critical now that we are in, this 4v3 scenario favoring the attacking side. Wi-Fi now using that grenade to get a bit more territory, has no idea that Bio was playing so close, but a quick trade is found. Psychosis, though, will get one back onto J-Slime, now getting a lot of heat from Indy, though, and Psychosis whips out a pistol, somehow gets a kill off screen. Last one alive now is Exo. He'll get one, and now all he has to do is find one more. He's got the case in his hands, he's got 60 seconds and a drone to work with, and he'll just go for the long angle. What a shot there, all the way across the site, getting the job done in a big way, being last alive for now 3 rounds in a row, but this time it'll work.
Exo baiter. I'm just kidding. Exo showing up in a big way, having a bit of a slow game when it comes to the scoreboard so far, but clutching up there against Twist and Psychosis. 2 really good shots, so impressive there from Exo. Shift's initial push into Bakery, sure they lose lava, but J-Slime gets 2 back, so it's not the end of the world. The real problem there, again, came down to the execute phase when people were pushing up, I believe, I think it was through Whiskey side. The attack tried to get a pinch through, and the repositioning of that smoke caught a lot of those Shift players off guard. And Exo, who is still kind of lagging behind everyone else, was the only one remaining. Thank God for him and his ability to clutch up there in that round. And that's kind of been the theme through a lot of these attacks that Shift had lost, were a good initial setup, and then once it comes to the execute, really fumbling with their positioning, maybe their communication, too many people scattered around like we saw on their on round 5 on reading. But again, good job to Exo to clutch up and end the half 3-3. When it comes to Cafe, we typically tout this as a pretty defender-sided map, but 3-3 is still pretty common as well.
Yeah, I think both teams are comfortable but not confident by any means. Shift maybe a little bit more than West Garfield because this is their map, and we can likely expect them to be even more comfortable on the defense than West Garfield was. We saw how West Garfield really couldn't pinpoint a bomb site that they preferred. They were definitely a little bit indecisive with that, and we saw them, maybe it cost them a round or two here and there. Bringing out the mining didn't work against Shift. Bringing out the kitchen, that didn't work against Shift either. But now we're at the half. We're switching sides. It's West Garfield on the attack, Shift to defend. So we will see how these teams want to change up in their approach. And one change, Harrison, is already very apparent. I had actually forgotten, that Mira was in play because West Garfield never played her, which was very surprising, right? Such a powerful operator left unbanned. You almost always see her on this map when the defense puts together a pretty solid half. West Garfield choosing to forego those black mirrors, and maybe it cost them. I suppose Shift won't have to deal with that ambiguity. They will be bringing the Mira right away on this top floor site.
Not only a Mira, but that's interesting. And a Runegate in the Cigar Double Door. I guess, added measure to protect Pixel if they want to burn from Cigar rather than the ticket window. Something they could do is, of course, put a Runegates on the other side of the mirror window so you can't easily Hibana them out. Something that we're seeing from West Garfield as well is the Twitch to direct counter this Mira. And I think the Mira pick does as well when you're going to counter with the Twitch is it does take away another operator selection, right? West Garfield would have had the exact same operator selection, barring the Maverick, as Shift did normally, except for the Nomad. So they're losing a good bit of flank watch for the Twitch, for the counter to the Mira, and even maybe opportunity to shoot out some ADSs and jammers and such like that. But if Shift get active on their roam and West Garfield don't have someone actively watching cams, the lack of a Nomad might hurt.
Well, one of those Twitch drones has already found its mark. We just saw the bathroom mirror window get popped by a well-placed Twitch drone, and that's going to put Wi-Fi in a bit of a pickle because that mirror is at crouch height. You can't just crouch in bathroom and stay safe. You now have to get out of bathroom completely or hide on the other side. Instead, he'll back out of that position, staying in play in Pixel.
What?
It's Indy who whips out a shotgun out the window and takes the life of Forrest. That is, yes, a surprising engagement to take with the shotgun, but Indy makes it work. He finds his 5th kill, and that is the Finca off the board pretty early into this attack. There's a lot of ground that West Garfield still need to take. They're going to take a lot of damage while doing that, and they're not going to have the Finca boost to get them back up to that health point.
I just can't believe that was a 1 pump. Wow. That's well done to Indy for finding that first frag on one of the most influential members of this team and one of the most influential operators on this attack. Lava and Indy, both still with C4s. Exo with gas canisters that West Garfield had opted not to bring in many of their defensive rounds. Shift certainly have a lot going for them in terms of plant denial and the positioning as well. Not a lot has been flushed out, but Rudy's already going for the plant. It doesn't look like there's any info on it. Here comes the gas canister, but it goes too wide, and Rudy gets the plant down. He sticks it through the gas, in fact. Bio, another kill on to J-Slime. Lava, the next to die. We're effectively in a 3 versus 3, but Rudy might get picked back up. Psychosis, his position completely unknown, lands both of the people landing up white, and now it's just Exo. 1 versus 3, he'll have to clutch up once again, but the attackers know exactly where he is. He takes a lot of damage to the backside. Rudy's now been picked up, and Psychosis puts him out of his misery. Shift were in such a good position to win that round, but the gas canister coming way too late sealed them.
I love the decision, though, from West Garfield to go for that plant early. Right, I was highlighting how losing Forrest, losing that Finca is gonna be a problem if you want to take as much control as we normally see teams do. It costs time, it costs health, it costs utility, and you lose on, 2 of those factors, both the health and the utility part, without the Finka in play so early in the round at that. So what do West Garfield say? They say, you know what? Let's just go for this plant. They saw the opportunity and they took advantage perfectly. And that's where the mistake comes in from Shift, right? A lack of just an understanding of where the plant was going down, of how quickly the plant was going down. And because of that, the Toxic Babe came in far too late. So even if I think Rudy did get down by the smoke at the end of the day, but that was after the plant had gone down. And that simply isn't what your smoke is designed for, right? You need your smoke player in the right place at the right time with the right comms from your team so you know how to utilize those smokes best. And Shift just missed out on what, albeit small, but a round losing decision there by not hitting those smokes and just not knowing that the plant was going down. Again, love that decision from West Garfield, and if they can keep, bringing out those bold decisions on the attack, I think they could be in for a pretty good half.
And I mean, not even the plant, but if we want to focus on what happened after that, the duo push up white should have gotten the trade on Psychosis. The fact that Iana got both of those kills, I mean, if Shift trade themselves out there, not only do they take out the bathroom player, preventing Exo from getting flanked at the end of the round, but they also either kill the sledge picking up Rudy or deny the pickup in the first place, leaving it in a 2 versus 2 with Exo pushing up center. He doesn't have to worry about trash. Well, I mean, that round probably, maybe Shift don't win it, but it probably becomes a little bit easier and a little bit more doable. But so I guess props to Psychosis for holding down bathroom, with a vengeance. But Shift are going to rotate down to reading room now. Second floor site, still the Mira in play. I imagine both of those windows upstairs. Actually, not in bathroom. Probably freezer and cocktail, I would have to imagine. There's the one freezer. No, none cocktail. Oh, it's on the white wall. Okay, all right, that makes sense. So yeah, Mira is still in pretty standard positions.
And West Garfield, I mean, they are going to have to deal with them some way, right? Last round, we saw how beautifully Bio wielded that Twitch drone and how, made those mirror windows pretty much obsolete within, the first 60 seconds of the round. And that is as best as you're really ever going to get dealing with those windows. Most of the time, it takes a little bit more creativity. Either that's sneaking a drone in somewhere while you're providing a good bit of a distraction, or that is, establishing some sort of vertical angle to deal with them from elsewhere. For now, West Garfield, their priority is clearing out this top floor. It's not on these windows just yet. We can see those X-Kairos pellets on Indy's window here, and Indy took a lot of damage in that flurry of shots as well. Wi-Fi getting one kill there, a nice C4 onto Psychosis, so the player who was so pivotal in that bathroom retake last time will not have a factor in this round, and J-Slime will go down moments later. Rudy will finish off that kill, but several teammates were focused on dealing with that Jaeger. He was darting across in cocktail. West Garfield knew they had to deal with him, but that right there from Indy is a big deal. He got out of there alive just before West Garfield took complete control. Now that C4 will miss, but the job is done. You now have all 4 defenders on the site. This is going to be an even 4v4 execute.
I'm not going to lie, with this sledge and bathroom, I could see him out. I was really worried that Indy was going to get caught vaulting, but he ended up escaping with his life, and the last C4 goes up from Exo, but it misses. No more C4, no gas canisters either. Not a lot to stop this plant attempt other than the raw guns of this defense, and once again, West Garfield, as soon as they set up for the execute, they are in. The plant is going down. The Finka's in freaking bathroom, and none of the defense is in a position to stop this. The Finka will get 1, make it 2 as Lava looks away at the wrong time, and Exo can't flank. Wi-Fi's stuck inside a pillar, and everyone is turning their sights to him. He can't even find one. West Garfield, both of these attacking rounds, sure, the initial clear is slow, but as soon as they find that opportunity to go for the plant, they hit the trigger, and there's nothing from Shift to stop them.
I know I said it last round, but I have to say this again, Harrison, because I am just obsessed with attacking teams that play the game like this, that don't just wait for the last 20 seconds of the round because they're, quote unquote, supposed to, that move in the moment. They don't have to even kick in the door. The moment there's a crack in the door, it just might hinge open. Then they say, okay, let's blast our way on in. Let's take advantage. Let's go for it. Even if there is a good bit of risk associated with that, maybe there's a couple of positions of defenders you don't know. that's fine, because if you're confident in your ability to play in that post plant perfectly, if you know that your team is going to have perfect coverage of the retake that Shift are trying to put through, or that plant denial they're trying to throw at you, I mean, then there is no better strategy out there. And West Garfield, they also knew that Shift had a problem in terms of that plant denial, right? They heard, well, one C4 kill, so they knew one C4 was off the board because Psychosis died to it, and then the other two C4s were wasted. They knew that. They dodged them. They heard the explosions, so they had a pretty good awareness of what utility that Shift did and did not have on the site. That is why they were able to go for the push. And again, in the post plant, the gunplay, phenomenal from every single player on the attacking side. 2 in a row for them, and they're looking good.
Big hole from Shift 2 was just nobody in the hallway at all. Like, why was every single defender peeled back so far? That's a big question that I guess won't get answered anytime soon. Okay, the attack are already in prep. Now, Shift, I mean, they're actually in a position to stop the attack from moving in this time, so the rush is thwarted, at least for now. West Garfield are, I mean, they tried for a fast play. It didn't work, but none of them died. So they, at the very least, burned 2 gas canisters and can now go for their normal standard push.
Twist now droning prep out, trying to make sure that nobody is staffing those holes above. But of course, there will be those Shift defenders up top. At least somebody will be keeping a weather eye on that prep door and on potentially this breach. Once Rudy can get this open with that breaching torch, he'll be taking his time doing that, and he'll actually take a bit of bullets while doing that. I think that was sounded like J-Slime challenging him, and he's actually he's having quite a difficulty opening up that wall. And Wi-Fi is well, he's going to use that opportunity to swing on Bio. The Zofia is already gone. Good nade though from Psychosis, and Lava will kind of just walk into the nade at the unfortunate moment for him. Indy gets one back, and Exo just narrowly escapes what could have been, I think it was death by Twist, just holding the breaching line there. He knows there's somebody positioned somewhere on this site. Hasn't quite dealt with him yet. Rudy still worried about up top, but he'll just swing and take down Exo, who really should have been looking that way because he saw the nade come through. Speaking of nades, that is another one that's going to find a kill. That one onto Wi-Fi. It's Indy and J-Slime in a 2v3, and even though there's a full minute left, we know that West Garfield, they're going to push in at any moment.
And Forrest gets the crossfire from Smallbake. Sure, Indy's there to trade, but still, 1v2, and now info on his position. He's got to look left towards the window. There's an attacker encroaching through prep. That's Rudy on the Maverick. He's the one holding case. A Twist, if he doesn't have a proper angle, he could be sticking Rudy on an island here, but the Maverick is getting in a safe spot to plant. Indy, he's got the C4. He could throw it over and deny this. Here comes the explosive, but it's gonna go wide. It doesn't make it as far, but he does catch Rudy and down him. Now it's 1v1. Indy and Twist both full HP. Twist coming in, looking like he wants to cook a nade, but will put it away, instead relying on his raw gun skill, but Indy's all the way towards bunker. He'll miss some shots, reveal his location. Twist doesn't have time to go for the pickup. No, he will. He'll put the man advantage back in his team's favor. In comes Rudy, cut down with ease. 5 seconds left. The Sledge has to push, and he wins the fight. Indy stands up and just doesn't have enough in the Roni to do it, and that'll put West Garfield even further in the lead.
That was a messy one. There's no doubt about that. You know, as much props as I gave West Garfield in the 2 previous rounds, they did, you know, keep me on the edge of my seat there. But at the end of the day, they got the job done, right? And it was a clutch res from Twist that no doubt, I mean, helped and all but secured that round, because Twist was in a very tough spot. You know, say Rudy had been finished off, you've got Twist with limited knowledge of where that Mozzie was positioned, and you could see how he was unsure of if he should go for the push or try to pick up that diffuser and go for the plant. Instead, playing for the res, and if anything, just baiting Rudy, that was enough. Because once Rudy died, he had confirmation of where the Mozzie went, had confirmation that he was prone behind the counter, and at any moment he would pop up and get ready to take that gunfight. So there you have it. Twist knew exactly what he had to do, and in, you know, the only 3 seconds he had remaining, he made sure to do it. And with 3 really nice attacking rounds back to back to back. That puts West Garfield on match point. That is map point for them. And a reminder that this is Shift's opening map pick of Cafe. This is where they wanted to start the night, and even though I speculated that when they go to the defensive side, they may be even stronger than the attack, Harrison, I have definitely been proven wrong.
Yeah, Shift have been struggling on these defenses tremendously. So far, West Garfield have had some pretty fast pushes that Shift weren't prepared for, and towards the end of that round, I mean, again, West Garfield being able to find angles and catching a lot of those Shift players off guard. So we're on bar. We're back on the top floor. Lava is still rocking the Mira. I'm not going to lie. I don't think the Mira has really done all that much for this defense thus far. Either they've been opened by the Twitch or... I mean, I don't think we've seen a single kill come from behind a Mira window. So I'm not sure if I agree with the Mira still being brought, but hey, that's the game plan for Shift right now. There are No, I was about to say a couple. There's one player downstairs. That's J-Slime. Curious that the only player roaming does not have a C4. And you've got Wi-Fi, aggressive, in stage, likely to come under fire pretty soon from this attack, but they're actually all setting up towards Cocktail. Bottom white and on the rappel. Twist getting a kill on Exo as the smoke quickly challenges that window and falls.
West Garfield off to a good start in what could be the final round of the map, unless Shift can... make another comeback like they did so many of on that first half. But Lava is, now going to be kind of get stuck in a bit of a crossfire here, so he's got to back off and be quite careful on how he positions. J-Slime and Psychosis will trade blows here, but Psychosis will be able to be, again, healed back up a little bit because the Finka is in play. J-Slime wants that fatal blow. He wants to finish off that kill, but on so low HP, it is not going to be easy for the Aruni at all. Lava is getting absolutely bullied in Cocktail right now, but by some miracle, he is still alive. J-Slime is no longer, as Rudy will finish him off. And, well, Indy is trying to support Lava here because Lava is, in a very uncomfortable spot, but this entire defense are soon to be in that very spot. A back-to-back nade kill. Forrest swings in the window to finish off the round and finish off the map for West Garfield. What a tremendous attacking sequence from them. 4 rounds in a row to take Shift's map pick out of their hands. What a way to play this first map.
Yeah, 2 beautifully fast executes. The kitchen round coming in clutch. And then at the end there, Cocktail. The Cocktail take, not expected, especially considering the operators they had in their lineup. Not the play I would have thought they'd like for. But, I mean, hey, it worked out really well. Every time Shift tried to do something about it, they got caught. I mean, Exo peeked the window really fast, and well, he was shut down instantly. I mean, there was not enough coverage in Cocktail. Those nades were free. Eventually, Lava just succumbed to the chip damage, and very, very well done to West Garfield. I mean, this was Shift's map pick, and they have Exo back, but they'll lose to the same 4-round deficit as they did last week to Aerial.
And, any reminder of last week, I'm sure that Shift do not want that because it was messy, and when they went to map 2, things did not get better, they only got worse. That has got to be a different story today. They took 3 rounds on the first map last week and only 1 on the second. Heading, into Villa next, it's not Chalet, right? It's a little bit more of a team-oriented map. It's a little bit more straightforward and strat-focused. Hopefully Shift can thrive in that environment, but again, we're gonna have to wait to do that. Harrison, we've got a massive winter storm coming. I don't know if it's gonna hit you guys, but up here in Boston, 12 to 18 inches of snow, and I love some snow and I'm down for that, but the one problem is I don't have a good place to lounge when I'm stuck inside, right? I really do wish I had a beautiful Mavix gaming chair to sit in, and that's right, you can get your very own. Even I could get my very own. Might want to do that. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to come in time for tomorrow, but you could get your very own new M4 gaming chair from Mavix Gaming Chairs for as low as $22.22 a month. You can buy that now at mavix.com/nerdstreetgamers. All of the Mavix Gaming Chairs feature the Future 9 functions of critical ergonomics. I have no idea what that is, but it sounds important because I want my back to be healthy, as I'm sure you do as well. So with that out of the way, we are going to take a quick break before we head into map 2 of Villa, where hopefully Shift can keep things together for a little bit longer.
Have to get aggressive. Reed's looking for it, and he'll get it.
Have to push for the kill. Have to kill the Maluski.
Transfers on 1-3. What a passion! It's high noon. There's the 1v2 and 5-1 for Sir.
Welcome to the NerdStreet Winter Championships, featuring SCS6, a yearly open tournament series hosting the best players and teams North America has to offer, culminating in a community favorite, the Pro-Am. So let's discuss format. During the Winter Champs season, SCS6 will consist of 2 stages, where each stage begins with 2 open qualifiers. Once Stage 1 is complete, there will be an additional tournament offering 1 more qualification spot prior to Stage 2. Through participating in SCS6, players will acquire leaderboard points and cash prizing. The winning teams from Stage 1 and 2, as well as the additional tournament, will qualify for the Pro-Am. The top 2 teams from the leaderboard will also qualify. As we approach the end of the season, the final qualification spot will be determined through a last chance qualifier. The Grand Finals of the Winter Champs SCS6 will feature the return of the Pro-Am, where the top amateur teams have an opportunity to define their talent against the North American Pro League. But in the end, only one team will be crowned Winter Champs. Sign up today and make history.
Have to get aggressive. Reed's looking for it, and he'll get it.
Have to push for the kill. Have to kill the Maluski.
Transfers on 1-3. What a passion! It's high noon. There's the 1v2 and 5-1 for Sir.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to map number 2 between West Garfield and Shift. If you missed it, we just saw Shift lose their map pick of Cafe by the same margin that they did last week. It was not pretty.
It started off fine, though. I mean, they had some pretty solid attacking rounds. They made some surprising comebacks in situations that, honestly, I really didn't expect them to. And West Garfield, they may have let them in a little bit. They may have made some mistakes as well, but we saw a completely different story when West Garfield went onto the attacking side. They wasted no time finishing off the map, taking all 4 attacking rounds in a row to clean it up and take that 7-3 win. And they looked damn good while doing it. Shift, they had, a couple of moments where it seemed like they were, going blow for blow. But for the most part, Harrison, it was a story of, Shift just not matching the level of attacks that West Garfield were throwing at.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of mispositioning from the defensive Shift. There was a lot of lost gunfights. The Mira not really doing much. 12-5 for Rudy, brilliantly done. 10-5 for Forrest. I mean, we know Forrest is a brilliant player, and that's just kind of up to par for him. Twist and Bio doing well for themselves. And all around, West Garfield, every single one of these players having, standout rounds and standout plays. But when it comes to Shift, they were just way too few and far between. I mean, sure, like you said, Shift had a couple of decent attacks, but other than that, as soon as we swapped sides, they looked lost.
I mean, you see that West Garfield, they got those 2 plants down, and even when Shift were on the attack, they were a little bit less objective focused, but across the board, right, it was West Garfield just outgunning, outplaying, out-entrying Shift. And even though we saw Wi-Fi, he went +2 on the entry. Indy got some good kills as well. I mean, it was Twist who really made a statement there for sure. Now, going into Villa, right, it's not too different from Cafe. I mean, it is, you know, it doesn't have those three. I guess it does have a third floor, the basement that you just don't ever think about. But like, I think we'll see, you know, how Shift want to change things up, because they can take the lessons from Cafe and apply them to Villa. It'd be harder to apply them to a map like Coastline, but they can absolutely apply them here. They'll be starting off on defense, the half they struggled on, so no better place to like start off and hit the reset button. They need to hit the reset button, frankly, and this is a good time to do it. They can pull out some clean Aviator defenses, and they can, you know, make West Garfield work for it, because West Garfield have built up attacking confidence over 4 rounds in a row, and Shift need to go out there and stop it right away.
Yeah, as long as Shift are, you know, again, prepared for those fast pushes, prepared for the executes, they should be okay on their defense. I mean, it might be a little bit easier for them to do that on, you know, sites like AVG. The plant spots in Aviator aren't as covered as they tend to be on Cafe, but, you know, of course, we'll have to see as we now load into the operator bands. Shift, of course, will have the first ban. Last time we had Flores, Thatcher, Wamai, and Valkyrie, leaving people like Mira, Maverick on the board. I can't imagine we'll have very varied ones here on Villa. It tends to be decently similar. Probably,
right.
I mean, probably Thatcher. No, Flores again. Okay.
Flores right off the bat is not,
I dropped
not
my
a shocker. Oh no, it is Thatcher. Okay, pranked us there for a second. But it probably does mean that, you know, Flores is coming in second. There are other options though, right? This is Villa. You could bring out a hard breacher. You could, I mean, there it is. The Habana ban is going to get taken off the board here, which it does mean that the Flores is in play. But a map like Villa, I feel like those Rotero drones aren't quite as strong as they would be on Cafe or a map like Oregon, but, you know, it's up to West Garfield right off the bat if they want to bring him out. The defensive side, we saw the Mira left up on Cafe. I expect that to stay the same here on Villa. I think Mira is much stronger on Cafe, and if the teams are willing to keep her up, then they'll definitely be willing to keep her here. And there it is. It's going to be the Wamai. Same defensive bands as last time. The only slight change will be the Habana. So the X-Kairos pellets, that ranged hard breach potential that is often most powerful on that top floor side of Trophy and Statuary in getting that Master triple wall open, she'll not be a factor here. That'll mean that the attacking teams will have to turn to somebody else, either that Thermite or that Ace.
And with the Wamai band as well, that means the Flores doesn't necessarily need to get played. You can clear the rest of the utility pretty easily without that, and Bio's going to swap off of Nook onto Buck. So for AVG, that probably means West Garfield are clearing below and prepping for a main stairs take. Once they take in through, you know, the main doorway and lobby, get some pressure on main stairs, you usually see people, you know, extend their Buck into living room and library, establish vertical presence, you know, clear the backside of bar, clear positions in vault and such. That's probably going to be the same game plan here for Bio. With the Hibana ban, that means, you know, ranged hard breach is still king. Like you had mentioned, the Ace probably going to get played every single round. As for Shift, not bringing that Mira, maybe a little bit more of a risk here on Villa, just because all of that floor is destructible. It's super easy to counter out a Mira, you know, especially if you're bringing a Buck as well from below. So completely understandable that Shift want to completely forgo that.
5 seconds left before insertion.
Wondering how much presence they're going to establish on this Trophy and Statuary side. Often, you know, a good differentiating factor, you know, between defenses is how much they want to allocate towards that side of the map. And it does look like there will be some moderate presence. You've got a couple of reinforcements. You've got Indy setting up those mute jammers, and, you know, Wi-Fi likely setting up a good bit of utility, and maybe some Malusi Banshees as well. But for now, West Garfield are not going to go for the full top floor clear. For now, it is mostly a direct approach. You've got some pressure already being applied to Study Balk, right? And a good bit of pressure being applied directly below the site. And if you're bringing the Buck, that's what it's all about. Not only can these nades be impactful, as Twist is trying to find somebody, but to no avail, but the skeleton key is going to make these defenders just dance around the site. They're going to struggle to find a couple of secure, places to sit behind or maintain, and that could mean that West Garfield get a couple more opportunities to get some frags. For now, though, Shift will avoid all of the tomfoolery going down below. J-Slime is the first player to really contest that. He's sitting on the main stairs, but he hasn't gone for, as I say that, any ridiculous swings just yet. He does want to make sure he puts the fear of God in West Garfield.
Yeah, J-Slime is the first line of defense, but instead it's actually Exo to pop the first body on the attack. J-Slime with another, Lava a third. And at long last, I mean, West Garfield, they'll find some sort of response, but how late is it? And there's Wi-Fi with the flank catching one, not the second. Psychosis makes sure to refrag, but he can't outdo a Lava. And Shift take round number 1. West Garfield try to storm up the main stairs and get fought back with fervor.
Yeah, that didn't work at all, did it? I mean, West Garfield got mowed down before any real strategizing on the site and pressure going, towards study, aviator games, whatever you wanted to do, 90 haul, all of these usual very important points we never even saw. Didn't even have to talk about them because, West Garfield, their attack lived and it died. Kind of that downstairs push and on the main stairs. Psychosis, even though he was able to get one, couldn't do much else. A near flawless round for Shift. That is certainly a hell of a way to remind both yourselves and West Garfield that you can win a defensive round. Their first defensive victory of the series, of course. So good for them. Now they'll be looking to, of course, win some more. And West Garfield, maybe they will think twice before employing such a strategy in the future. On this site, you can employ a similar one by going, inside from below, pressuring downstairs in kitchen and dining, and then going direct into master. Or, unlike what West Garfield did last time, they could clear through aviator and games if they chose. I guess we didn't get to see too much of West Garfield's thought process in that round. They looked like they wanted to continue that aggressive style that they showcased on Cafe, but at least in round 1, that was not going to work.
10 seconds to go.
We'll see if they try for something fast like that again. Bio is now off of Buck onto Zofia, and no more Ace. We see Maverick come into play. So he'll be close on that master wall. That could be an opportunity for Shift to find a C4 pick, but they're not really playing anyone in dining. As it appears, this is mainly going to be an AVG-sided roam, but West Garfield, well, there's one person spawning on that side of the map. Where are the rest? Oh, okay, they will be challenging this roam, and Twist, who is already in the building, completely unaware of Wi-Fi, pushing down main. That is a very, very early pick onto a Sledge whose primary utility is not too useful on this site, but still a good set of nades gone.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what Twist was looking at, but he, had no idea that he needed to look towards the main stairs, even though there are, 2, if not 3 defenders, with their mindset, or at least they were with their mindset on holding this extension. But yeah, that is a good shot there from Forrest, and he'll at least take down Wi-Fi, who was indeed that player who got the opening pick here. So we are sitting even in a 4v4. J-Slime, though, he's downstairs and he is looking to make a move. He'll peek out from Art Studio looking for anybody on the master bow, could deal with that drone while he's at it, and don't know if West Garfield know this is here. Bio is close by. He'll sneak up onto the study balcony. He won't see J-Slime in the process. And Forrest has set up at least one of those air jabs, but they do need to be wary of this flank a bit later in the round.
J-Slime's actually got a floor hole from below as well, it looks like. Yeah, he's hovering right below it, but unfortunately, he will miss those shots. So now they know that someone's downstairs, and J-Slime's probably going to have to go back to the site up Astro. And here comes Psycho covering the doorway. Lava exposing himself straight to the Iana. And there goes that man advantage, that shift we're looking for. So they'll suffer a one-man deficit. J-Slime getting back to the site, as I said, up Astro. Exo is actually in bathroom as the smoke, leaving Indy really the only player who's, next to the site itself. Finally, J-Slime will come and join him, make the defense on the anchor game a little bit stronger here, but Psychosis is looking to fast push once again. He outduels Indy with ease, and here comes the plant attempt from Bio. Same theme we saw on Cafe. It'll continue. Now it's just J-Slime left in a 1v4 post plant with Psychosis coming up from his bomb chassis. You saw the Iana eager to swing, but peeled back just at the last moment. As J-Slime sends out a pre-fire, they know exactly where he is now, and the time is burning away. There's even someone coming from his bathroom side that he's going to have to worry about. Nades coming through. He'll try and outduel Forrest, but only succeed in landing a couple of body shots. He'll take the head off of Psychosis, but here's Rudy finally making his presence known as West Garfield take round number 2.
Psychosis has been, pretty consistent on, these gunfights, both on Cafe and now here on Villa, just taking gunfights and winning them. That's kind of been his theme as far as West Garfield are concerned. Certainly a bit of a redemption from the first round shenanigans. This time, starting off their attack initially a lot slower than the first round. Remnants of what we saw in Cafe, right? And a slow clear to start off, taking their time, maybe losing a player along the way, as they did this time, but using that control that they secure patiently to then step up aggressively and go for the push, and in this case, the plant again. Not waiting for 20 seconds, even when there's a full minute left, West Garfield say, okay, it's time. We've got an opening. Let's go for it. They still hadn't seen J-Slime back on the site. He was still rotating back. He had only just gotten back to Astro Stairs when West Garfield made their move, and that's what is so successful and so impactful about those attacks, is that you can catch the defense in a position that maybe they'd rather not be in when you begin to flood the site. So we're tied up at 1, nothing too crazy just yet, but Shift will definitely need to figure out a way to stop the style of attack that we just saw from West Garfield. It worked on Cafe, and it worked in round 2 of Villa.
I'm surprised Shift fell off of that AVG roam so quickly, maybe figuring that, hey, Wi-Fi got a kill and then died. That's really all we need. I do like the option to swap off the Cade. I mean, seeing West Garfield, knowing that they're going to be bringing that Maverick nearly every round as their, or not nearly every round, both rounds here for Trophy, as their only hard breacher means that, Cade is pretty unimpactful. So you might as well use it for someone else's utility like that Mute, who can go and deny drones. Indy's got a lot more info to use on the site as well. In comes Twist. Wi-Fi was looking to challenge once again, but Twist isn't going to fall for the same trick twice. He and the Mute of Lava are tasked with holding down ABG for as long as possible against a West Garfield team that's been very eager to get in the building.
You do see now Wi-Fi starting to back off, but Lava doing no such thing. He will re-aggress, and while he stays alive for now, it's J-Slime actually who goes down first. The Jaeger who will fall. There goes Lava as if on cue, and the next player, the final player on that extension, Wi-Fi does not dare continue to take those gunfights. 2 early engagements going the way of West Garfield. And even we've seen situations when their early clear stalls out and then they push the site aggressively and it still works. Now they've got a 2-man advantage. And so imagine that their site push is going to be much more lethal this time around. Forrest will flash himself for now. So, taking their time as usual in this mid round before they eventually go for this push. And with that time, Wi-Fi may be looking for a flank.
Now, like you mentioned, I worry for Shift, and hopefully this flank is well timed, because we know as soon as West Garfield see a hole, they are in that site and planting. So Wi-Fi's got to make a move, but unfortunately there's an air jab to meet him that we saw set up earlier, and he dies. Indy's attempting to find a refrag, but only succeeds in chip damage on Psychosis, and as he retreats, the Yana finishes him off. Now Exo's stuck in a corner, and there's nothing he can do. West Garfield take round number 3 again, seemingly with ease.
Yeah, that one they had very, very little trouble in pushing out that Aviator clear. And it seemed that, you did wonder, why Shift gave it up so early last time. And even though they did give it up early, the one thing that they gained from that is they didn't all die early. They only lost 1 player. It was just Wi-Fi because the other players had already gone back to the site. They helped set it up. They maintained it for, 30 seconds, and then they got the heck out of there. In this round, maybe hearing you, telepathically, they decided, okay, let's try to contest this a bit further. Let's try to slow down West Garfield at the onset, hoping that likely if you can slow them down enough at the start of the round, maybe even get a kill or 2, that they won't be able to go for those lethal executes that they've been able to do very, very successfully as of late. Unfortunately, that strategy, as you all saw, did not work at all. They applied a lot of pressure on Aviator side, and they got mowed down. I don't know exactly where J-Slime was positioned, but I do think he was part of that squad trying to hold down this, south side of the map. And of course, being so unsuccessful in that endeavor, as was Lava, Wi-Fi had to fall back in a 5v3 on site. West Garfield took that very, with a lot of confidence and very easily.
Now, I mean, Shift did win this site last time because West Garfield tried for a fast push up main and it didn't work. Maybe that happens again. We'll have to see. West Garfield, curiously enough, are not bringing that ace, though. No hard breach at all. Shift are set up all the way on the other side of the map, but it looks like that's probably not going to matter. West Garfield spawns are on the same side as it was previously, looking for that main stairs clear. They want to put this buck to good use, and as they drone in, they'll see there's no one challenging them. It's just J-Slime on those main stairs, with Wi-Fi actually coming in, I believe, through red? Maybe looking for an early flank. He's already towards the landing. I don't think the drone is over towards there, but he'll reveal his position by spraying through the wall. Unfortunately, he won't land any shots.
Psychosis, again, looking for something down below. Not going to be able to do much with it right now. West Garfield, they are, taking their time right now. Looking to speed up eventually, and here it comes. They'll start to push up the main stairs, and here it comes again. They get completely mowed down. Rudy gets one back, but then Exo steps up and slams him, and I have no clue why West Garfield tried the same thing twice. It failed horrifically last time, and it failed horrifically this time, leaving only Forrest defend for himself against 3 defenders who are going to be much smarter than West Garfield was in this round, and they are not going to just throw bodies at the problem and get mowed down by Forrest. They'll sit back and they'll wait for the Nomad to make a move. But here's what's perplexing about that. They knew he was there, and they stunned him, and so maybe they thought, oh, J-Slime, he'll be easy to kill. We've got 2 players. We can swing him, no problem. I mean, yeah, he's stunned, but that stun isn't going to do that much. You can still shoot at the same fire rate. You can still see just fine. And so J-Slime had no trouble with that. So now it's Forrest all on his shoulders. He doesn't know where to look. There's nobody. There's 3 defenders and nobody is over in that hallway. And he simply had no idea. West Garfield, they will, fumble the bag here in a big way, but it is still all tied up.
Yeah, I mean, I think you were right. Maybe they had assumed that the Zoe stuns, how there's like that quick flash before at the beginning of the Zoe stun? Maybe they thought they had timed it correctly and that it would have been enough, but it wasn't. J-Slime was just spraying people down. He got 2 kills on the main stairs, I think right after Indy killed Bio. Fun fact, both times on AVG, Bio as the buck was the opening frag. But now we're going to dining. So Shift, after losing trophy twice, are going to the second floor site. Oh, I guess technically first floor site, because the lower floor is a basement. So let me go to the first floor site. And, well, we've got an Oryx in play. Well, this certainly can be useful for a flank, up a hatch and whatnot. We've also got a Legion and an Alibi. So in terms of hard utility and plant denial and such, there's not a whole lot on the board here for Shift. This is a lineup that tells me that they want to find frags.
Yeah, they may be hunting for kills rather than waiting for them to kind of walk into them as they have in a couple of previous rounds, right? You've got, 2 T5s, both in the hands of J-Slime and Exo. You've got Indy, who's probably just going to run around like a madman, and Wi-Fi, of course, with the MX4 Storm, who, sole purpose in life is just to hunt for kills. Lava's the only one here who's probably not going to be a full-fledged roamer, but look at the setup here, that Shift are bringing into play. You've got 2 reinforcements over by Piano downstairs, trying to just take control of this entire first floor and maintain it as long as they can. We just saw J-Slime put up a barricade over facing that, main door, and we can see this defense is quite spread out, and honestly, I'm loving this. But we'll have to actually see how well it works. West Garfield, they've done a lot of just direct first floor pressure in the past, but this is the first time we are seeing this kitchen site. We don't know how West Garfield want to approach this yet.
Yeah, clearing this realm is certainly going to be interesting if they even go for it, because we're already seeing fast entries upstairs. They might not even worry about these downstairs players because, do they really have to? None of them have C4s. With the exception of Lava. He is the only Nitro Cell on the board for this defense. So as long as they take control of up top and do enough damage with the vertical, this roam probably not going to matter. So I like the decision from West Garfield so far. We'll see if it works out in the round as they continue to clear upstairs. Rudy's on Master Balk, just waiting for the call from his team so they can take out, I think, the one player who's playing towards Master side.
Trying to see if any of these defenders are upstairs.
Left?
No,
He left.
They're gone. Yeah, I mean, maybe playing this smart. I mean, you didn't have a teammate to support you, and you see how, powerful this West Garfield clear is going to be. So, I mean, you really don't have much in the way of actually holding this down. But because of that, I mean, a full 90 seconds is what West Garfield has to work with here. J-Slime is hunting for this kill, but he does make his presence known while doing that. West Garfield have now confirmed that there are, at the very least, several defenders off-site. If they haven't droned them out, they've probably heard them. And when they actually get their drones onto the site, what are they going to see? What aren't they going to see? And if we know anything about West Garfield, is that when they see an opening, they take it. So Shift have to be very careful. We're under that 50-second mark, so at any time, we could see West Garfield go for the push. You see somebody jumping out, trying to delay that here from Memo. They'll fall back, get spotted out by Twist, but he will escape. Indy gets one back as Lava is finished off. Twist gets one from above, so that is going to be another kill going the way of this attack.
And Lava earlier was the only guy on site. Luckily, though, West Garfield, we know them to be fast and pounce on those site opportunities, but they were slow enough to the Shift roamers able to come back to site. And we've evened up the man count at 3 apiece with only 20 seconds remaining for West Garfield to actually get on the bomb site and start planting. Wi-Fi is going to start taking a fight through the floor, damage Twist, but Bio's getting this bomb down under the cover of Forest. Indy's going to come in for the swing, but he'll miss and still kill the planter, but it's just a little too late. It goes down, and now they have to worry about this upstairs coverage from Twist. Someone is going to have to rotate upstairs and kill him. Otherwise, it is freebies for this sledge, especially Indy, who's on low HP, and I don't know if that diffuses in a position for him to be able to long arm, but no, he's going for it. Wi-Fi takes out Twist, and Forest dies as Indy hops off the plant. A beautiful retake from Shift, holding onto the site despite really not having a lot of utility for it. The guns come alive, and Shift, for the first time since round 3 of Cafe and round 1 of Villa, take an advantage.
Yeah, they take the lead here, and it's really important for Shift to just take this lead and just do not let off the gas. We see how they can play when everything is clicking. Even though they, had a peculiar setup there, and it may not have worked that well, they had as textbook of a retake as you're ever going to find. We saw 2 players instead of just one push that top floor. That is incredibly smart because you know that the top floor player is the priority. They're harder to kill if you're on that first floor site, and they're even more problematic when it comes to covering that diffuser. The player downstairs, easier to take that 1v1. That's what Indy did and was able to win the fight. Upstairs, it was Wi-Fi who got the kill, but I mean, Twist was getting swung from 2 different places at once. There was not much he could have done, even if he was able to get one of those 2 kills. So really well played there by Shift in the end. We talked a lot about, that weird setup they were bringing out. I don't know how much that gained them. It really felt like it didn't do a ton for them. At the very least, it may have, made West Garfield think a little bit more, made them drone out a little bit more. Maybe they were confused about what the heck was going on. But it didn't seem that it actually resulted in any kills or any, ridiculous time waste. But when it came down to the site play, they got the trades they had to. Perfect retake. And there you have it. They take the lead 3-2.
Yeah, wonderful stuff from Shift. But I'm now concerned, Jonah, because Trophy is once again rearing its ugly head. Yeah. Shift lost this twice in a row. And because they've won AVG, because they've won Dining, they are forced back here. Once again, there's an AVG roam. West Garfield don't look like they're too concerned with it, though, with people already on board, unless they're just going to set up an air jab and then continue their own clear. Or they might just leave it all up to Psychosis and Twist. Lava is the man top main. He'll unfortunately miss the Iana clone, but it won't actually step foot into AVG. Nade goes out, and it will miss. It'll either miss or clear a Banshee on the other side of the doorway. Either way, that's one nade burn from Psychosis. And Shift aren't getting as active. As I say that, J-Slime takes a fight against Forest. They both trade about 50 or so HP, and Psychosis is looking to push up books and get some frags.
Yeah, but you can see that West Garfield, because they've allocated, not as much manpower to this Aviator when games clear, they're slower than we've seen them in the past. Doesn't mean it's going to stop them from taking that control eventually. There go Psychosis and Twist. They've got the control they need. J-Slime, much like last time, is still below. He's not going to be able to make an impact just yet, but Indy will off-screen. Was that a bit of a flank up the main stairs, or was... Where was Forrest?
I saw the little operator detected outside thing. Was he on... We saw... Earlier, he was 90 repel. I think Indy jumped out, like, the lower, like, the living room, bathroom window.
Uh-huh.
Because that's where Forrest was before, and that's the only reason why... or the only reason I can think of as to why we saw the operator detected outside thing flash for a second there. But wherever that was... Good kill, Indy. Good follow-up Wi-Fi. Bio gets a refrag on a J-Slime, but that's all the way across the map, and we've still got a man advantage here for Shift. Lava challenging aggressively as Twist lands the sledgehammer right next to him and is woefully unaware of the Cade's position. Freebie for Lava gets away scot-free. That leaves Rudy and Bio alone, and the wall is electroclawed, meaning Rudy cannot breach it. As he shoots the Banshee, he's lit up on his side, now down to almost half HP. Lava is caught out to lunch by Bio, but still there's a C4 in the hands of Indy. Last gas canister has gone out, though. Exo can no longer deny. Indy, lurking in bathroom, gets caught off guard by Rudy. Oh no! There goes the man advantage. Indy chose to get aggressive. I'm not quite sure why. And now it's an even 2-on-2. Rudy will take a little bit more damage, but the plant is safe behind Bomb Chassis, and Exo can't land the shots on Bio. In fact, Bio gets the kill on the cover. Triple kill now for the Zofia, and Shift have completely thrown away their lead. There's an air jab on the other side of the board double door. Exo can't flank through. He's gonna have to push Astro Split, and both attackers have their eyes trained on this position. Rudy's prone. He's so low HP. Exo will find him. Now we're down to a 1v1. Exo could hit the counter defuse here. Again, it's in a pretty safe position. All he has to worry about is his stat door, and he's going for it. Bio's got to swing now. He'll bait Exo off. The time is so low, and the shotgun does not blast. Bio gets the 4K, and Shift throw away their lead to even up the half.
That is huge for Bio. There's no question about it, but Shift cannot be losing those rounds. If they want to be an SCS playoff team, they cannot be losing those rounds. And that's a 4v2. They've got a wonderful amount of site control. And West Garfield are clearly out of options. But what does Shift do? I feel like they swung on Master two more times. Like once they got a kill on Master, and it was great. It was Lava who got that kill. Good for him. And then they swung 2 more times, and they died 2 more times. At that point, we're in an even 2v2. Bio's in the mix. He's still fragging out. And they take those gunfights, and they lose them. They let Bio take a bunch of 1v1s in a row. Like, I think every single engagement was a 1v1. Shift did not play together in the slightest when they had that advantage. And if there's any time to play together, I mean, it is that right there. When you have a round all but guaranteed, and the only thing that West Garfield can possibly do is sit and wait for you to walk into their open arms. That's what Shift did. Of course, the half, at the end of the day, it's even. It's a 3-3, and that is pretty much what we've come to expect on Villa. But the reason that is so impactful, because this could have been a 4-2. This could have been a win of a half for Shift, and now they've got to grind it out like the rest of them on this second half on their attacks, and we've yet to see how dominant West Garfield could possibly be here.
Hopefully that's not a mental chalker there for Shift. We're going on AVG now for West Garfield. By the way, that 4K was Bio's first 4 kills of the map. So, take that as you will. There is a player on main stairs hiding behind the shield. I believe that is Biologic himself, armed with those smoke canisters for early delay. Psychosis is placed in living room as the Vigil, and judging by the attackers' positions, it doesn't look like they have any idea. Psychosis is just kind of chilling. Lava's gonna break open the wall. Wi-Fi takes the first initial bout of damage, but there goes the sledge, and another Psychosis lands the double kill because of inadequate drone work. From this attack, sure, Wi-Fi gets the nade kill back, but it comes at such a high cost. Bio will ascend the staircase, unfortunately caught with a smoke canister in hand. So, I mean, there's the evening of the man count, but imagine how much smoother that could have went if Shift just droned a little bit more adequately.
But this is a situation where we have seen Shift thrive in countless times. They lose one, maybe two players right off the bat, but they find a way to equalize, and then they win the round. They've done half of that. They've equalized. Now they've got to find the second half. Now they've got to win this round. They have the nades to work with. They have the drones to work with. And they have the time to work with. And with one of those nades perfectly finding its mark, that means that there is only one little bit of plant denial left in the hands of Rudy. No more Psychosis. It's all up to Rudy, who exposes himself in 90 Hall. He now looks towards Study, tries to get a C4 off, but yeah, Shift are not going to die to that. Rudy on low HP has to stop the plant and find two more attackers, and that is simply not going to work. It is Shift doing what they do best on the attacking side, taking as many entry deaths as ever, and winning the round regardless, impressing again.
Yeah, impressive recovery there for Shift despite a very early blunder. Still taking the frags back. Wi-Fi, the nade through the floor is what started things off, and then Bio opting to retreat before setting out the gas canister means he's caught with it in hand. Big opportunity there for, I forgot who pushed that. Was that J-Slime?
I think
it was
so.
I think it was J-Slime who got that kill. So excellent work to J-Slime. And then after that, I mean, another nade comes through from J-Slime, and Shift just keep pressing. That's almost like what we saw from West Garfield in the last map, except Shift did it here. So well done. They'll retake the advantage that they should have rightly had at the end of the first half. And we'll go back to AVG, but there's a stark difference now. West Garfield are completely flipping the switch, and now they've brought the Mira. It is on Shift to prevent anyone in living room getting an early pick like that again, and making sure those Mira windows don't go unpopped.
Not easy to do, of course, but how much did they really come into play? I mean, we didn't see a ton of like on-site action in the last round. I mean, most of it was either downstairs with Psychosis or, in, 90 Hall or elsewhere, or from below, rather. We didn't see any, like, on the site gunfights, and mirror windows or not, I mean, if this round progresses the same as last, they may not come into play a ton. The one difference is, though, is if Shift change up this attack, we could very well see a very different pattern to this round, and they will. They are going to be working their way in from this trophy and statuary side instead of going direct. They're going to be walking into a minor extension, a little bit of utility. We can see those reinforcements on that triple wall and several defenders swinging them. A couple of missed shots, though, from Wi-Fi means Psychosis gets an opener. But J-Slime, doing what he has done very consistently over the course of these two maps, is getting those trades. He trades off his down teammate, and Twist backed off, dropped down, and got the heck out of there before anything else could get crazy. So he will stay alive, so we're even in a 4v4.
I say again, where is the info there for Shift? That was such an easy player to drone out, and yet they still die to him right off the bat. Now, again, I mean, like you said, at least they get the trade. We've seen them lose the opening pick before and still consistently win rounds, so it's not the end of the world. Twist will reallocate ADSs towards the book side of things in the hallway. And I think that air jab just actually got burned by one of those ADSs, so a little unfortunate there for Indy. And the ace charges now go out on Vault. Shift wanting to go for a Vault play. Been interesting here. It's a good way to avoid the mirror windows. You can see Forrest just took his last one out like, what the hell do I do with this now? There's nowhere for him to put it. And the second mirror window, well, it's facing Study, so it's going to go relatively unused. Interesting position there from Lava. prone outside the main door, just waiting for someone to flank up main. Unfortunately for the attack, there is someone with a shield and books watching this hallway, and until that is cleared, Shift cannot confidently push through Vault.
Yeah, you can see they're not only timid with this Vault push, but they're also just positioning in a way that they just kind of don't know where these defenders are. I mean, they look like they identified Twist just fine. They'll take him down. Lava will. Exo with a follow-up onto Bio. Indy drops, and so does J-Slime. Actually, Lava finished off by Rudy as well. C4!
J-Slime! He can pick his
And
up.
It's over. I mean, J-Slime has a chance to get back up. He's sitting here in Vault, but it seems that West Garfield knew exactly what they were dealing with there. Wow. That was a nice sight hold, and I mean, we didn't see much of it, but it just seemed that West Garfield, they flicked the switch, and voila, they won the round, kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I mean, I guess big ups to Bio with that smoke. The initial smoke that Shift had to force themselves through was big. I mean, having to go through Vault, they got the kill on the Jaeger, who was holding books, but that didn't matter. Despite Shift getting an opportunity to hold a crossfire into the site, I don't know if they didn't employ it or if it just simply did not work. Either way, West Garfield with a stalwart defense. Big ups to Forrest as well, and Exo, who got kind of caught in a Malusi Banshee, was easy victim for that C4. Okay, Forrest, thank you for that. And now we're tie score. Once again, 4-4. And now we're on trophy. West Garfield with even more drone denial. We've already seen very, early intel struggles from Shift. I think late round they may have had some intel struggles there too, with not a lot of exact positions of those last defenders. Now with the Mute and Amazi on the board, I'm hoping that doesn't get too much worse.
Hopefully they can tidy things up. I mean, of course, if West Garfield don't go for a crazy extension, then it might not matter too much, but the presence of those operators does indicate that there's going to be some extension of some kind. It doesn't mean we're going to see it over on the Aviator and Game side of the map. It just very well could be a pretty standard vertical extension down below in Kitchen and Dining, just hoping to maintain a little bit of control until the late round and hope that maybe Psychosis can get that C4 off. But it looks like we're going to actually have both. West Garfield going for both, using those Mozzie pests and keeping Psychosis downstairs and putting a bunch of players over on that Aviator and Game side. It's actually Forrest, one of those players on the site, who pops out Master Window and takes down Exo. So a spawn peek right off the rip, and this is a massive problem for Shift because it's your ace who's gone. Now your Finko falls right behind, but without any hard breach on this site, you are going to have a damn difficult time getting anything done. The fact that Twist has now been recovered, I mean, that just twists the knife in Shift's back, even further in, because now they're fighting in a 3v5 and they don't have, two core components of this attack to allow this to be succI
get it. Twist is back up, so it twists the knife in their back.
It was poorly elocuted.
That was a good one. But I mean, like you said, this should be 5-4 right here. I think J-Slime maybe got a little too kill hungry looking for his down. And while hard breach isn't necessary on this site, that's when you're going for a statue plant, from the skull side of things. When you're pushing from Master, it becomes a lot harder without hard breach. And, well, there's two different people in Astro. They both swing, get a kill each on the player's bathroom, and that leaves Wi-Fi alone, who was just on drone. In comes the Malusi. Forrest loses his fight, but does do a lot of damage to Wi-Fi in the process. Now this Iana is basically 1 HP. He's got a nade. He's not going to send it up just yet. Could have Rudy's name on it, but he'll hold it for now. One will hit an air jab, but as he hits the barbed wire, that's a perfect sound cue for Twist to pre-fire. West Garfield take round 9, and they take the advantage.
That was a very different style of defense, to say the least. We'd seen 2 rounds where West Garfield, they put a little bit of an extension in the mix, right? Maybe they went for a minor roam. But that right there was, throwing everything at Shift before the round could seemingly even begin. We saw 1 kill right off spawn onto the ace. That is a mental chalker, no question about that. And then when Shift tried to approach the building, we saw another kill and then another kill when they tried to enter the building. West Garfield played that very aggressively in a stark contrast to their two previous defenses, and I think in part that's why Shift got caught off guard to the degree that we just saw. So trophy and statuary, West Garfield got it done. I mean, it could have been any site on the map and you wouldn't have noticed because, again, very little fighting actually happened on the site. Even very little utility was devoted to the site. I highlighted how there was both an extension downstairs and an extension across that top floor. So West Garfield, they were clearly feeling comfortable and just outgunning Shift on that round, and, well, they certainly did.
Now we go to dining. There's a pulse in play for West Garfield. 3 C4s in pocket. Plenty of opportunities here for them. Shift do have an IQ, though. So if they end up taking top floor control, they could kill the pulse or completely dissuade him from using his utility. But, well, that's a way to start this round. West Garfield will spawn peek. And Rudy lands an immediate kill onto Lava, who is not happy about that. Shocked, even, as the Sledge, probably the most important operator when attacking this site the way that Shift want to, is off the table.
Usually, that's a big problem, but the fact that Wi-Fi and Exo both have 3 breaching charges, I mean, yes, it takes a lot more time to put those charges down and detonate them than it would to just slap a floor with a hammer, but you do have some vertical destruction, so you can get, you know, a bit more precise in where you want to place those, and you got to be a little bit more, you know, a little bit more choosy here and there, but you can do it. That is, if they take this top floor control. Twist is the player trying to stall that out. He'll take an aggressive fight, and he'll choose to back off. The coverage on that Astra window has since gone away. Indy looking elsewhere, so that escape route was indeed intact. But West Garfield with this advantage now no longer, because J-Slime picks up Forest from above. West Garfield, I mean, yes, they have 4 people up, but they no longer have any vertical control, and so early in the round, Shift have been able to take this control. They do have to be careful, though, of the pulse down below. That's going to be Wi-Fi's job, and just in the nick of time, there goes Rudy with, I mean, a wonderful saving blow for Psychosis. No longer has to worry about the IQ, can now use that heartbeat scanner very comfortably, and can maybe give some intel to his team about where Shift is approaching from. No more nitro cells, so actually can't kill with that scanner essentially anymore, but they can, you know, identify where Shift are trying to execute from and, you know, move preemptively to stop it.
A Shift are still playing vertical with these breaching charges. Exo really wants to find the kill on the mute of Rudy, who's placed in painting, but he's tucked in a corner. He's not going to be exposing himself to these vertical angles anytime soon, I would assume. Indy is right next to the window where Rudy might just peek from or jump out. Seems like he knows about this mute thanks to the call out from Exo, but again, Rudy is not exposing himself. Indy can nearly see the feet. In fact, he will simply jump in, but he'll lose the pre-fire fight. Rudy gets his 3rd kill of the round now, and there's still no trade from above because Exo was not watching it, waiting for Rudy to reposition. So now it's just the hard breach and J-Slime. Placed outside China. Look at a very nice shot on the Psychosis. Exo lights up Rudy, but is unable to find the kill. There's only 15 seconds left. J-Slime will hit the boost, but Exo still dies, and he can't land the 1 bullet on a Rudy he needed. West Garfield take round 10. They put themselves on map and match point.
Yeah, another round where, I mean, Shift just could not win gunfights. And in part, you know, they just failed to play as unified in those last few gunfights than we have seen them in the past. You know, you mentioned that engagement where we saw Exo just not quite providing the coverage on towards Rudy, the mute who was, again, like stuck in a corner. No coverage there when that pre-fire battle went off. And because of that, you know, a variety of other things, of course, you know, West Garfield taking another strong defensive win. Here we're sitting on match point with West Garfield holding a 2-round advantage, a perfect time to remind you the stakes of this matchup. This is an elimination game in the group stage. The loser is done. They're grouped. They're out of SCS stage 2, and they have no shot at least using this particular stage, leveraging into that pro-am. They'll have to use that last chance qualifier, and they will be out of it. The winner, they're not out of the woods, though, either. They still have to play in that decider game. In this case, in Group D, it'll be against Aerial Arise Academy. So
Pugstack versus Pugstack.
yeah, that'll be
Well,
fun to watch.
As Arrow's not technically a Pugstack anymore, but they were. They still
were.
have some Pugstack
The
energy.
origins.
So that could be cool. West Garfield are going back to AVG. Shift were they won the initial attack on this site and lost the retry. And West Garfield are bringing back the Mira. Now, Forest had only placed one in the previous attempt at this site. It looks like we might have a similar situation here. There's really only one spot to put it. I don't know
Could
where
go over
else.
the trophy and do it.
Unless, yeah, could go trophy side, could go on the wall that he just reinforced study side, if that's where Shift are coming from. We'll have to see what Forrest decides to do. But Shift, I imagine, will probably try to clear main stairs again. They're all running towards Art. Lava will pop open the barricade, and thus begins the clear. Last time they lost 2 early deaths, thanks to a Vigilant living room. But hey, that's not there this time, so they won't suffer any early picks, at least not from that.
Well, Shift, they have continued to struggle in these early engagements, and if they can remedy that here, maybe we'll see them, start to improve and maybe get these 2 rounds back. Wi-Fi will start to kick things off on the right foot for them. There goes Psychosis, currently the top frag of West Garfield at 12 kills. Rudy close behind with 11. Actually, speaking of, Rudy will just get tickled by the nade from below, but he'll reposition, so he'll be safe for now, as West Garfield have a pretty clear understanding that Shift are going for a very vertical focus, but pretty direct approach towards this site. No clear from Trophy, so those roamers will retreat and come back to the site. That main stairs player, Bio, will be very attentive, waiting for this push to come through, because as West Garfield know, attacking teams do like to run up the main stairs from time to time.
And he's got a shotgun with the attacker's names on it as he continues to burn away the seconds with those gas canisters. More angles through the floor being held by the attack, but no one on the defense is exposing themselves to it. More nades come out, but they do not land any damage. In fact, J-Slime gets heavily damaged by not only the shots from above, but his teammate's nade. Finally, Shift will start to push up main stairs. The smoke has since fallen back as Biologic had run out of gas canisters. But there's the mirror window from Forest. It's actually watching books. That's an interesting one. Wi-Fi pre-fires away, but will soon back off. Breach is being opened from study. That could pop open that mirror window if the attack pushes in far enough, but there are a lot of angles that they'll have to worry about if they want to go for that play. Wi-Fi looking like he's trying to nade that mirror window from below. One will get popped. Here's the nade, and it gets a nice kill on Forest. A 2-man advantage now here for Shift, but Rudy has an answer. Down goes J-Slime. Not only the Finko, but the top fragger, but Indy is there to trade out. It's Rudy and Bio, the 2 SAS operators, now in a 2 versus 4.
Yeah, Rudy has still a pretty strong position to work with, but if he doesn't know Exo is already planting, that is going to be a serious problem. Indy gets lit up, but not finished off. Plant now secured as Rudy is dusted, and so yeah, it's all up to Bio now. He'll pick up one with the shotgun, but now he's got to find 3 more pretty mid to long range fights with the SMG-11 is not an easy task by any stretch of the imagination. He's got 30 seconds and he needs to get a move on, but he has simply no idea where these Shift attackers are going to be positioned. He'll take the long fight and he will lose it rather quickly to Exo, who not only got the plant down, but will make sure to get the final kill. Good round there from Shift overall, remedying some of those mistakes we talked about. A lot cleaner in terms of the entry and a lot cleaner in terms of playing unified, playing as a more cohesive team when they went for that execute. It doesn't, however, mean that they are out of trouble. It's still match point and they are still 1 round down.
And we're going back to I don't know why I just wrote AVG in my notebook, because they had clearly chosen Trophy. Whoops, hold on. Okay.
Silly.
So, we're going back to Trophy, though. West Garfield had won this site with 3 men up, playing very aggressively, catching Shift members, running not even into the building, but just around the outside of the building. Very aggressive spawn peaks. I mean, they spawn peaked lava. J-Slime was caught from, I think, the skull window. And West Garfield, I don't know if they'll be able to keep up that aggression against Shift. And we just saw in the previous round, Shift took full control of those entry engagements. So I guess we'll see maybe a more passive West Garfield here, although the Thunderbird could be choreographing a different style of play, maybe even more roamage with those Thunderbird, the Kona stations on site to heal them back up should they get too damaged. But Otherwise, I mean, if Shift get into the building with all 5 members, that'll already be an improvement from the previous time they attacked this site. But, I mean, there's more to it than that, right? They're still going to actually push in and conserve that man count. So there is not much of a roam. It's just Rudy. So if Shift, opt to come from that direction, they only have to deal with 1 player, but it's just going to be a master direct again, it seems.
Yeah, or at least for now, it seems that Shift want to just step on up and take fights or get some pressure going on this site. Last time they did try a similar approach, but of course they were stopped by a spawn peak, by some peaks from the study side. But this time they're going to be a lot more careful about that. They're always going to have somebody watching these angles, even when somebody's droning out the site. And there's a nitro cell already from Rudy, and it's going to come up with nothing. I believe, maybe he thought Wi-Fi, a Gemini clone was a person jumping in, and so that'll be 1 wasted nitro, and there is only 1 more in the hands of Psychosis on the Thunderbird. There is, of course, 3 Toxic Babes in the hand of Bio, so in terms of that plant denial for the late round, they've got a lot of it, but the late round may actually come sooner than West Garfield are hoping for. Shift are already applying a lot of pressure. They've already got those flashes up and over the triple wall. The nade likely soon to follow, and here come the Selmas. Now you've got the approach onto the site that you need, at the very least a cutoff onto the site, and so West Garfield now have to be a lot more careful.
Shift still have to worry about the C4 from below, though. Psychosis has one in pocket, and there it goes, but it misses. Wi-Fi is downstairs on a solo clear against several of these players. He'll damage the Thunderbird, but Psychosis gets away with his life as Wi-Fi continues to drone himself in, and Shift press the issue in Astro. Indy's now on that rappel, attempting the tag team with J-Slime in Bathroom against Biologic, who's got the shield by the desk. In come the stuns to try and burn the util, but there's a gas canister to respond, and J-Slime cannot destroy the shield just yet. Good usage of the utility so far from Biologic, because that nade might just allow the ADS to recharge. I don't exactly remember what the charge time is, but I guess it's back up. Here comes the nade, and it not only destroys the shield, but destroys Biologic as well. Excellent first pick for J-Slime as the attackers now have an in for Astro. Actually, no, it doesn't destroy the shield. It leaves it up. That's a weird blast radius from that nade, I guess. But with 40 seconds left, Shift have an opening pick. J-Slime just narrowly misses the shots onto Rudy, but he does take full control of Astro. Twist on the flank, gets Lava. We're now back to even. Time is running low. Exo has got to get in the site to start this plant. He has the wall open, but there's still defenders watching it. Wi-Fi retakes the man advantage with a kill on Twist, but now your ace is so low on HP, and Psychosis refrags Indy. Here's Exo, despite the low HP, getting a kill. The Bearing 9 kicks too much for Psycho. It's just Forest, and ladies and gentlemen, Shift are headed to overtime. They're not getting 2-0'd today. Well,
at least not yet. We have got, I mean, that was a much, much better round from Shift. And yeah, we've got overtime because of it. I mean, from the onset of that round, and for the first time, I guess you could say, it really felt like Shift was in control. Like, there have been a lot of instances when Shift have won rounds, and maybe they've made a comeback happen, or even maybe they've started off, on the right foot, but, had a wishy-washy mid-round. That one felt really, really good. It seemed that there was never a doubt until those last few gunfights that they were going to win that round, when, again, there were no kills at all, only a minute and a half in, but Shift had made so much progress. They had gotten the wall open. They were dealing with Bio. They were forcing Bio to use those toxic smokes, even with 60 seconds left. They were pressuring the players in the statuary, forcing them to fall back into trophy, over into 90, starting to identify where those defenders were. And then they got the opening pick. All of that control, all of that confidence, and then they got the kill onto Bio. And from there, I mean, it was even harder for West Garfield to make the comeback. I mean, they lost control of Astro. Shift, yeah, they lost a couple of players as they pushed in, but in any situation where they had a death, they made sure to find a kill as well, playing the trades beautifully and taking the round because of it. Just through and through, I think the best round we've seen from Shift so far.
Yeah, and now, though, we have West Garfield making an adjustment, right? They see that the main play from Shift so far on AVG has been up the stairs. Right through lobby, take main stairs, walk up, and the control is had, right? So they'll opt for Chonka. If Shift are going to be going for this same play again, they not only have to wait for those gas canisters to dissipate, but they'll have to wait for the fire as well. Now, if Rudy gets caught from below, you know, that's a great amendment here for Shift. But if he plays passive enough, this could be a real problem, although Shift do start out with a kill on Forest.
Yeah, that's a great way to start. I mean, there goes Forest, who has been, you know, inconsistent, but has found a good bit of kills.
I think he got wallbanged.
In important moments. I mean, that's a bummer for him because, yeah, right off the bat, Shift take the advantage, wallbang or not. That is
what is going on? Oh yes, you see the bullets on the piano wall.
Oh, that is brutal. Poor guy. Bummer for him, no doubt about that. So he'll have to rely on, I mean, Bio is really the next player who's going to feel a lot of this pressure. You know, we saw how West Garfield pushed the main stairs and how how when Shift was on defense, they, you know, denied him pretty consistently. But West Garfield have, for the most part, struggled to actually deny this push up the stairs. Shift have done a stellar job of not only clearing out the utility, but clearing out the player who sits on top of the stairs. The nade is going to be slightly off the mark because Bio has relocated, but it does enough damage to make Bio a little bit worried about contesting this even further. He's got, of course, Rudy to support him, and that's going to be crucial. You can see those Shumikas, you know, bouncing off the wall, hitting that staircase, but that's not enough to save Bio's life. Wi-Fi, great use of vertical play, 2 opening kills for Shift. West Garfield now, they need to make some sort of miracle happen here. Yes, Rudy can delay the stairs, but that's not going to do much anymore because there is still a full minute left. Shift are now taking this control and they're 2 men up.
Rudy is retreated back into the site. I mean, that Finka boost pretty much absorbs the fire damage that you'd take walking up main, so understandable that Rudy wants to back off. We'll continue to now flame out Books, making sure that Shift can't fast push up his hallway, but J-Slime, he's looking to do just that. He's got a boost to his name, and the fire might be missing the main doorway, but J-Slime's not going to play aggressive for now. Shift have the man advantage, and they don't want to throw it away. They have the control, and I like the fact that they're slowing down just a bit, considering that West Garfield have already repositioned. Psychosis does get a frag on J-Slime, though. That shuts the Finka down. In comes the 90 repel. Indy falls to Twist, who is in the hallway, and Lava is walking up red. Everyone from Shift is coming from a different position, and what happened to this lead? I have never seen a worst mid-round transition like that after an opening 2 kills, taking main stairs without worrying too much about the Chonka, and then all 5 players, 1 study, 1 main stairs, 1 books, 1 90 repel, and 1 red stairs? None of them winning their fights, and none of them being within tradable distance.
What just happened? I mean, Shift had everything going for them, and I gotta put a lot on Rudy's shoulders here, using the Tachanka to utter perfection. But that shouldn't have been enough to stop Shift. You highlighted how you can just Finka boost through the fire, and even if you don't have the Finka boost, you can just run through the fire and take gunfights, and it's not going to be too big of a deal. It's only bad if you sit in it for a minute and a half. But the fact that Shift in a 5v3 then decided to put 1 player in a bunch of different places at once. I mean, okay, you got somebody coming up main stairs. Red stairs. In addition to the 2 players coming up main stairs, in addition to the 2 players working their way in from study balcony, 1 player walks in the study door, gets fried, the other player gets lit up, so that slows down the study players. The main stairs classical hall players, they're delayed by the fire, and so you send someone red, and they die right off the bat. Twist is able to go massive, you know, going for a bit of a study retake. So many things just went wrong there for Shift, and maybe they were trying to, you know, transition to that execute, and they were focused on the comms of making something happen rather than their flanks and rather than just doorways that West Garfield were going to swing on. But it did really feel like Shift losing that one rather than West Garfield winning it.
Yeah, that was abhorrent. I'm mad about that. Wow. That was such an easy round. We could have had Shift taking a map for the first time in this season. Actually, wait. Hold on. Let me look at Split 1 real quick. Split 1, Okami. Okami took 1 map off of Karn and Cohen split 1. So Okami have a total of 1 map in both splits of SCS so far. And, well, they might go out without getting that same record because of that 1 round and an incredibly unfortunate, well, not even unfortunate, an incredibly atrocious play on that attack. Now they're going to AVG, and they were successful on this defense both times they were here, mainly down to the fact that West Garfield don't know how to push main, but they're not doing that this time. There's a master side clear here, and there's a Jackal. Forest now employing the feet guy. So, I mean,
The feet guy.
maybe this will have some kind of effect on the roam. I mean, the fact that West Garfield are just doing something different, I'm kind of thankful for, because I wasn't looking forward to watching them throw their lives up main stairs again.
Yeah. And they were also, you know, the ones who took this time out, of course. They were the ones who said, you know what, let's take some time to think about this before we walk into a setup that we have seen on 2 separate occasions and have, you know, absolutely thrown our lives away on 2 separate occasions. So glad to see they put some thought behind it, and they've spotted out Indy because of the Jackal. Forest will, you know, track him, and because of that, Indy will have to just go all the way down into the basement, likely eventually going to rotate up the main stairs, because Shift now know that West Garfield have not applied much pressure there at all. All of this pressure instead over on the trophy and statuary side. You do, of course, have Twist over on the study balcony. You do have somebody early on that 90 repel, making sure that Wi-Fi can't swing out any further than he is already positioned. So West Garfield have, you know, the people in the right places, but if they're alone, like Twist here, you're not going to be able to find these trades. And J-Slime, he'll step up, maybe suspecting that the sledge was alone, and he'll take Twist down.
Good opening pick here for Shift. This is the start we want on what could be their final round. That kill on Twist. They could be changing their fate here. He's still prone, watching the skull doorway. You can see Indy's silhouette rotated below. He's got a C4 in pocket that he's going to be looking to use. Lava might join him later in the round if it gets down to it. Although this Cade is in vault, so I doubt that's too much of a possibility. Lava still has an Electroclaw in pocket as well, surprisingly enough. Exo's all his gas canisters still in pocket with 50 seconds left. This is looking good for Shift so far. Smoke canisters are coming in, though. That's going to prompt the swing from Lava, but he doesn't land enough shots to get a kill. Bio's now in the plant spot over by Bomb Chassis, and Lava thinks it's over by Risk. It'll completely miss, and Indy can't land the plant counter either. Plant goes down, 5 versus 4. Excellent smoke coverage there from the Jackal of Forest. That may have just won the map for West Garfield as Psychosis finds a trade. Forest tags on another. Indy so low on HP, but Exo and J-Slime step up. In comes the Iana. Psychosis will outduel the SMG-11 and get J-Slime. He's looking for the 4th on Indy, who's so low. The only thing standing between West Garfield and this win is a 1 HP mute and 10 seconds to waste. In comes the Maverick, but Rudy teams kill Psychosis. Indy, you've got to go for the swing now. He's going to go for the defuse. All Rudy has to do is delay 1 more second, and this map is over. West Garfield taking an OT 8-6, knocking Shift out without a single map win.
Well, that one was a fantastic attack to close out this one, and it was clear they thought about that. A 60-second timeout. I mean, there's a lot you can get done in 60 seconds, and all of that talk got them a very big brain execute, using the Jackal smokes beautifully, working that around so that the defense had no idea where the plant was going down, and they snuck their way all the way by the bomb chassis, not behind the vault door, not behind the maps table. And because of that, Shift had both of those angles covered, by the way. They had Indy downstairs, who could have denied the maps table plant and likely could have denied the vault door plant. You had somebody in vault with a C4 who could have denied both as well. The one thing they couldn't deny was the one thing they just were not prepared for. I mean, if the C4 had been tossed that way, you could have gotten it done, but they had no idea the plant was going down by the chassis. And once again, Psychosis is simply better than everybody else. Really great coverage. I mean, just frying everybody as they walk through the site. And it did get a bit messy in the end, but with 10 seconds left, there was almost nothing that Indy could do and Rudy, all he had to do was just bait out that diffuse, bait out that swing, and there it is. The map, the series for West Garfield, they will move on to the decider, and Shift are unfortunately eliminated from SCS Stage 2.
That last round was a heartbreaker. Everything was going Shift's way, but those smokes from Forest were perfect. And like you said, they had 2 C4s. If they knew it wasn't risk, why not go for the C4 on the default plant? And even then, while Forest was throwing those smokes, if Lava had just nabbed even 1 kill there, that could have completely changed the face of that round. But either way, that is the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. And Shift, well, they're gone. Not a single map win, only 1 map going to overtime. Definitely not the performance they're looking for, especially heading into relegations. I believe that'll be after Invitational and after Pro-Am when next CL quals are. If you want to go ahead and look at the stats, J Slime with an immense effort, 16 and 11 from him, but Psychosis, 18 frags on the map. Incredible stuff from him. He was a gunner in Challenger League. He's been a gunner in SCS thus far. Rudy stepping up for his team as well. Wi-Fi, who I've only ever seen play like Thermite and Nomad before this team, actually doing really well on the entry. I gotta give it up to Kyle for playing on a new role and being pretty damn good at it, but across the board, it was just not enough from Shift.
There's no question, though, that having Exo back was a difference maker, right? He stepped in and he led Shift to what looked like, overall, a pretty impressive Villa performance. They really did look a lot better than not only last week, but even map 1. They did look more composed. They had more adjustments, and they were able to deal with the West Garfield shenanigans that had gotten them into a bit of trouble on Cafe. So it's good to see that, with that central voice, with him back in the mix, he, performed pretty well himself, but it did seem that Shift had things going for them a little bit better. But at the end of the day, it is a West Garfield team led by a phenomenal Psychosis, Rudy with a ridiculous 1.41 rating, really putting in the work and just outplaying Shift. They had really good attacks on Cafe that carried over into Villa, where their attacks weren't as strong, but they did get the 3-3 half they needed. But just think back, Harrison, to the round that Shift threw away at the end of that first half, that 4-2 split. We would have been in map 3 right now. We would have seen Coastline, because we saw OT, and if they had done it, we're in a very different situation right now. It's just the little things that just lead to this.
It really is. There were several rounds where Shift looked like they had it all going for them, and out of nowhere, West Garfield would just explode, or Shift would be completely mispositioned and take 1v1s without really winning any. Again, in that last round, it looked like maybe there was some miscommunication errors. Wi-Fi and Indy, I know, are relatively recent additions to the squad, so maybe they just didn't have enough time to acclimate, and they'll look better once relegations comes around. But, they better look better, because for their sake, there's a lot of talent in CL quals, and if they're going to be looking like that when relegations roll around, I really fear for their spot.
Yeah, but we'll actually have a chance to talk with one of these West Garfield victors. We've got Biologic, we got Bio in the building. Bio, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. Well, first of all, congratulations on the win. You guys pulled it out at the end of the day. Starting off on Cafe, let's talk to me a little bit about that. You guys looked ridiculously good on your attacks. You just kind of pushed into the site when you saw an opening. How do you guys make that work?
I think it's just more like how we have like the team set up. I'm really good calling the early game and mid game, and then Rudy's really good at just late game getting the bombs down, and playing T2, T3 teams. They kind of make it just like a shootout. They kind of forget the late end of the game, and so Rudy said he felt like he could plan it. He went for the plan. We just covered him.
Awesome. And that kind of strategy worked you through a lot of rounds. But, speaking of that, T2, T3 teams, obviously you guys, formed as a pug stack, but I kind of want to know, are you guys scrimming outside of this? You guys putting in any work, or is it just kind of you get together for SCS?
The meme is we're pug stat, but we're actually an actual team. When we first started playing, the first iteration of the team, I literally messaged some guys. We all got on a week before the standalone, and just scrimmed and then played. And then some things kind of aligned, so if things like line up, we should be like a CL team. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, that is actually really good to hear and good to know for the future. So yeah, thanks for that piece of information. Let's talk a little bit about Villa, I guess. So going into Villa, it seemed like you mentioned those, T3 teams kind of forgetting the late round. It seemed that despite that, whatever they did worked a little bit better on that second map. There were a couple of rounds you kind of funneled up main stairs and got yourself into a bit of trouble.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the adjustments you made to pull out the win.
I think on attack, like just how we have the team, like we kind of like try to like go for things. I think the first round, or not, I think one round we tried to do a rush up main stairs to just like catch them off guard, but like they're all ready and like our trades didn't work in our favor. And then I think on a couple attacks, I think we just missed like our clutches, like our like 3v3 like clutches. And then like we adjusted when we went to OT and like we did a different thing. We went for like a smoke plant at the map store, but it was more like just like playing off like adjustments and stuff. And then like defense, like we don't have like that many like set things. So like on Villa, we kind of rely on the Wamai to stop a certain take, and then they ban the Wamai, and so like it kind of like messed up like our defenses. But then we just kept like working with it and like basically like clutching up. Like that 3v5 with Rudy like Tachanka, like they're just like clutching up.
Sweet. Well, I guess looking forward to the decider match next week. You've got Aerial Arise Academy, so another former Pugstack turned actual team. They've been looking good, but they just lost to the team that you guys lost to last week, Karn & Co. Any thoughts going forward into that one?
I'm more surprised that the Aerial Arise team took them to those maps, especially Bank. Like I just don't see those Aerial Arise guys like playing Bank. I mean, that's just, so I'm not surprised they got
Are you a Bank
out.
team? You're going to pull it out against them next week?
I mean, I've been playing Siege Count for like 5 years, like, so I know how to play Bank. Like those guys on Aerial Rise, like they weren't around when Bank was in the pool, so like I don't know why you're going Bank. But yeah, play the Aerial Rise guys. I'm like confident going against them. It's more of like the teams we're accustomed to playing. Like Karn's team like surprised me. Like it was a meme, like people saying like, oh, Karn's team is like sucks. It just surprised me how it felt like I was playing like a mini like SSG basically. Like they're trying to do things, and like it showed like Karn's like a meme from like Xbox, and like his team's like really good. So
awesome. Well, again, congratulations on the win tonight. Good luck in that decider match, and hopefully see you in playoffs maybe.
Thank you.
All right, have a good night.
You too.
Interesting compliment there towards Karn & Co. Actually, good to hear that Karn & Co. is played so formidably in that matchup. But here are your overall stats from both maps.
Yeah, Indy 4-0 on entry, Wi-Fi 5-2. Surprising that Indy was doing so well there. Bio 0-4, unfortunately lagging behind a little there. But I mean, Rudy and Psychosis in the 20s. J Slime +1 there, 21 and 20, nearly even despite having 21 kills. And despite that, I mean, J Slime, the only member of the squad positive, and only by 1 kill. And I mean, if that wasn't the story of the game, I don't know what was, especially after Cafe. I mean, like Bio said, Rudy was a huge part of those executes when it comes down to it, getting those plants down, seeing the opportunities and taking them. When it looked like Shift still had stuff covered, Rudy would just walk in and plant right under their noses and then get kills when it came to that retake. I mean, Forrest was still pretty consistent as we know him to be. Psychosis was landing entry kills and clutching up, as we know him as we know he can, just from Challenger League. And I think this is definitely a game where the scoreboard kind of tells a lot of the story. Shift, there's so many rounds throwing gunfights, getting aggressive and getting caught when they didn't need to. Poor drone work being a huge deal on Villa attacks, letting clutches go to West Garfield, throwing man leads. I mean, there weren't as many issues as there were with Flux. I do think getting Exo back amended a lot of them, but there were still a lot of things glaring.
And of course, your final picture of Group D on the screen here. It is the decider match between Aerial Academy and West Garfield that will finalize which of these teams make playoffs and who get grouped. Karn & Co, of course, have secured the top seed coming out of this group with a win in the winners game over Aerial Academy. But that second seed, that second team to enter into the playoffs from this group is yet to be decided. And all of that will be happening next week. Of course, your playoff bracket, your early picture, you can take a look at here. You've got Dallas Vendetta, Chess Club, and One Shot also already confirmed, in addition to Karn & Co. And I mean, all of this siege that we're talking about, it's all happening next week. And that is what's so freaking amazing about SCS, is that we're doing all of this in such a short period of time. Starting next Tuesday, we've got decider matches going into the playoffs, heading into that grand final by the weekend. It is going to be rapid fire, amazing games, hopefully, and I am stoked to actually see it through.
Yeah, there's gonna be a ton of action. I believe we're streaming every single day from Tuesday straight to grand finals on Sunday, so make sure you don't miss any of the action. But of course, Jonah, before we wrap up, we got to thank one more sponsor, Mike and Ike, for always being with us. There's the original Mega Mix, there is the Mega Mix Sour as well. If you want to power up your candy game to the next level, you can grab
Sours
a box of any of those Mike and Ike's. Yeah, I've only had the Mega Mix, and they were really good. I remember we were taking the road trip to Toronto, and I was with Lava, and we stopped at a gas station, and Lava actually bought me Mike and Ike, like, for the bit. And
of course.
They were awesome.
I'd only had the Mega Mix until like 2 days ago. I broke open the pack of sours that I'd been flexing on stream, and they're actually really, really good. But we've actually got our sweet play of the day, presented by Mike and Ike. I think, it could be from this game here, but no, I think it's going to be, yes, from the earlier series. This is Spiker going absolutely nuts, lining up 2 in the hallway, first of all, and then just, finishing it out.
Yeah, it was Karn and Whitlock. I think both actually fell victim to Spiker, who was playing the vertical game very well, while Venna and Frozen were down pushing towards Mudroom. Spiker had very good coverage. You can hear the smoke behind Bar, thought he was safe. He got aggressive on Frozen, was able to down the planter, but it came at the cost of his life. And after Frozen goes down, of course, Spiker figures, hey, I need to get on Venna and cover my planter, especially with how low the time was. And, well, that planter provided a perfect distraction. That was kind of the big part about this entire round. None of those people that Spiker killed were actually looking at him. They were all distracted. The first 2 in the hallway were distracted by Hookah. That guy downstairs by Bar was distracted with denying the plant. And of course, the Thunderbird as well, shooting at the planter. Well done to Spiker for kind of putting himself in a Panba clip and just diving right under all those defenders' noses. But Jonah.
Yes.
Before we say goodbye, there's one more order of business to attend to. Now, I got serious permission for this, so I didn't have to feel like an asshole, because Shift have gotten grouped without a single map win.
Aha.
Time-honored tradition at this point, Jonah.
Yes. Last week. Hello. Oh, here it is. Oh, right down the middle. Is it going again? Oh, just brutal stuff. Just brutal. I mean, so Serena drew that, right? She took the time to painstakingly create that art.
It was,
you rip it up.
I thought it was printed at first. That's how nicely it was drawn. But I told her, if Shift go out 2-0, I'm doing it again. And I asked her if I could rip it, and she said yes. So there we go. Shift, do better.
It's all right. They're done. They do have one more chance, though. Our last chance qualifier happening after the stage concludes, before that Pro-Am. But until next week, that is going to do it for us tonight and this week with our first and second round of the group stage completed. We only look for our decider matches early next week, starting on Tuesday, rolling straight through to our grand finals on Sunday. So thank you all for tuning in tonight. If you're in the winter storm that's coming towards the East Coast, stay safe, stay warm,
stay inside, and, don't drive.
Yes. And hopefully everyone can have a safe weekend. So thanks again, and have a great night.